Good afternoon to all those who have joined us online. Friends, good afternoon. Friends, welcome to this essay writing course. Well, before I say anything, you all know the importance of essay writing, right? And in fact, if you look at the scheme of examination, you'll find out that the weightage of essay paper is how much? It is 250 marks, which is almost similar to a GS paper. But the sad part is that most of the people, they give a stepmotherly treatment to essay. It means they do not put in that much amount of hard work which is necessary for mastering essay writing that they otherwise put in other GS papers. Or I can say that the GS papers are more closer to their hearts rather than the essay paper. But if you look at hard-hitting facts, you will find that what is the weightage of the essay paper? It is almost similar to any other GS paper. Well, this is not the only factor why people are not doing well in the essay paper, that they do not dedicate enough time to master the art of essay writing or learn the skill of essay writing, but also there is dearth of material or sources when it comes to essay writing. Is there any one particular book which you can purchase from the market and by learning that book you can learn the art of essay writing? No, you cannot, right? So on one hand, there is some shortcoming as far as the aspirations are concerned with respect to the preparation of the essay, and on the other hand, there is obviously lack of material or standard sources or concrete sources in the market which will help you in improving your essay writing skill. So there is causation flowing both ways. But you see one thing, when you will go for the civil services main examination, the written examination, you know that the first paper that will be conducted will be the essay paper. An essay paper can add momentum to the entire examination. It can also destroy the momentum of entire examination. Just imagine if you have done excellently well in the essay paper, you will feel motivated, right? It's like in a cricket match, if you have not lost any wickets in the power play and you have played well, then you get the entire momentum for the rest of the match, right? But if suppose, God forbid, that the essay paper goes wrong, and if the essay paper goes wrong, then obviously there will be a kind of anxiety which will build in you, and that will also affect your performance in the rest of the papers. Having said that, look here, that apart from giving momentum to the entire civil services main written examination, because it is the first paper, the essay paper is also vital for scoring big in the examination. I always hold that if you have done well in your optional subject, if you have done well in ethics, and if you have done well in essay, then your chances of going into the Indian administrative services, Indian police services, or any other service of your choice, it increases many times. The essay paper is slightly different from the GS papers. Why? Because in GS, you have to showcase the range of your knowledge. Because the word limit is how much? The word limit is only 150 or 250 words. So in 150 or 250 words, you have to incorporate many viewpoints. So you do not go in the depth of any one particular viewpoint. But essay is different, because here you have to stick to one topic and you have to show the depth of your knowledge. GS is all about range of your knowledge, whereas essay is all about the depth of your knowledge and how you can engage someone else, in this case the reader slash evaluator, in your perspective regarding a particular issue. Further, essays are always topical. It means they stick or they move around a particular topic. Unlike GS questions are very broad-ended. They are like open threads, right? So you can put in multiple kind of things in it. In essay also you can definitely put in several perspectives, ideas, concepts, etc. But can you ever go atopical? No, you cannot go. You have to always stick to the topic. Do you get that? So, look here. What will be our endeavor under this course? We will first today learn the art of essay writing. That's it. That will be our task for this class. We will try to understand how we can write an essay, what is the demand of the essay paper, what UPSC is actually looking for in a candidate when it throws questions in the essay paper, what kind of techniques we can adopt for brainstorming. Have you heard about it? What are the different stages of the essay paper? How we should introduce an essay, how we should write the body of the essay, how we can conclude the essay. What are the do's, what are the don'ts in essay? And at the end, I will handle your questions along with some frequently asked questions which I have encountered over these years and have jotted them down. So I'll answer all those questions along with the new questions that you will put today, right? But my request to all of you would be to hold patience and listen to this entire class and then ask your questions, because in mid, if you start asking questions, then it will become very difficult for you to continue your understanding in the class, because everything is interlinked. Okay, so once we are done with the art of essay writing, what we will do is that then we will conduct 5 workshops on essay writing. How they will be conducted, I will tell you. And then we will also have 5 tests on essay, and finally there will be 2 mock tests. My objective is, by the end of this course, to enable you with all the necessary skills which you can use to handle any kind of essay, right? See, I am not here to do any kind of spoon feeding. In fact, that would be the most dangerous thing as far as the essay paper is concerned, because essay should come from within. Do you understand that? And for that, you have to learn the art of essay writing rather than memorizing certain facts or memorizing certain perspectives, right? So we will start with a very basic question, and that question is, what is an essay? I want all of you to pay full attention to whatever I have to say in the class today, and everything that I will be saying is contained already in that booklet which is given to you. So the focus of this class is on understanding and not on writing anything. Obviously, you are free to jot down whatever you feel is necessary, but I will urge that it should be your understanding that should be your highest priority today rather than writing. Because if you understand today's class, then there is a great chance that you will be able to write any kind of essay that can be asked in this examination. Do you get that? So we will begin the class with a very basic question, and that question is, what is an essay? What is it? Now look here. Dictionaries define essays in different ways. Different scholars have also defined essays in different ways. And you have written many essays throughout your schooling and college life, right? But what actually is an essay? Well, a good functional definition of an essay would be, and what is a functional definition? That definition which you can put to use, or that definition which you do not require to memorize. Do you understand that? So functional definitions are such definitions which you are understanding and not memorizing. Do you get that? And such definitions you can also create on your own. So what is an essay? An essay is a short piece. It's a short piece of writing. And what kind of writing? It's a short piece of dedicated writing on a particular subject matter. Now look here very carefully. There are certain important keywords here. And what is the keyword first? Short piece. The second keyword is dedicated writing. The third keyword is subject matter. Now what do we mean by a short piece? For many of you, this might be a little bit confusing because you feel essays are long. How can it be a short piece? Well, when I say it is a short piece, I mean that essays are not written like books. Do you understand that? What is the maximum word limit that is being asked in an essay paper? It is 1000 to 1200 words. That's it for one essay. So it's a short piece of dedicated writing. Dedicated means that you are fully committed to the topic. You are not moving away from the topic in any way. Do you get that? So short piece means it's only 1200 words, and if you include 2 essays, then it will be 2000 to 2400 words, right? And it's a dedicated writing. It means it is committed. you are making a commitment with the topic that you will not leave that topic. And it is also showing that you are completely focused on the topic. Do you get that? On a particular subject matter. Particular subject matter means on a particular topic. Do you get that? So, what is an essay? Try to just understand the meaning of the word essay. And if you understand the meaning of the word essay, then you will feel comfortable with the demands of an essay. So, what is an essay? It's a short piece of dedicated writing on a particular subject matter. Short piece means it is not like a book. Do you understand that? It is not more than 1000, 1200 words as far as the civil services main written examination is concerned. And it's dedicated. It means it shows your commitment. Dedication means commitment. So it shows your commitment and it also shows your focus with respect to what? With respect to a particular subject matter, which is nothing but your topic. Do you get that? Now, how this essay writing can find manifestation? How it can find expression actually on the paper? You see, essay can find manifestation in three major ways. First is by way of discussion. Second is by way of a narration. And third is by way of presentation. Now, what do I mean by this? Discussion means that you talk in detail about a topic. You try to highlight all the angles that are included in that topic. You try to incorporate all the perspectives in that topic. You also try to identify the prospects, the challenges, and the issues that are there in the topic. And then finally, you suggest some way forward, some conclusion. It means at the end, you give solution to the problems that you have identified. Do you get that? So, discussion simply means that first, you talk in detail about the topic. And when you talk in detail about the topic means that you try to analyze the topic from all possible angles, including all possible viewpoints and perspectives. Do you understand that? And then what you do is you try to find out the prospects of that topic. Then you try to find out that what are the challenges in that topic. You also try to find out that what are the issues or what are the problems in that topic. While you are dealing that topic, what kind of problems or issues can you identify? And finally, you suggest some way forward and you give a conclusion. And in that conclusion, you try to solve the problem, or you at least indicate towards the things that we need to do in order to solve the problem. Do you get that? These kind of techniques, or rather this type of essay writing, is very common when the topic is socio-economic, environmental, or political, or even science and tech. Think of an economic topic, which may also have some other angles also involved in it. You all are aware about one initiative, which is Make in India. Are you aware about it? Now, Make in India, can I talk about it in detail from all angles? Can I highlight the prospects of it? It means what we can achieve through Make in India. Also think about the $5 trillion economy that we are looking for, and Make in India will play a vital role in it, the success of it. Do you understand that? Then we can also talk about the challenges that are associated with Make in India. Like say, for example, we have yet not developed the manufacturing ecosystem by which we can encourage people to come here and make in India. Do you understand that? There are also some labor laws kind of issues, environmental clearances issues. There are also rights issues involved in this country. So all these become what? All these become challenges. Do you understand that? And issues. And then you can give a way forward. You can give a conclusion and you can suggest how we can resolve the crisis or how we can provide solutions to the issues or to the challenges. How we will do that? Well, all of that we'll learn in the class today. Don't worry about it. So this is the first way of essay writing. writing essay by the mode of discussion. Do you understand that? The second one is narration. What does narration means? Well, have you seen in certain movies or in theater, there would be a narrator? A narrator would be one who links two scenes or gives a different perspective about a particular actor or a particular scene. Do you understand that? Like many times you have seen that when the actor goes silent, the narrator starts speaking. Do you understand that? So who is a narrator? A narrator is a person who brings in point of views. Do you understand that? So in this kind of essay, what happens is you try to bring out all kind of point of views. All kind of point of views. Do you understand that? And on the basis of those point of views, what you do is you help the reader or the evaluator by engaging him or her to form an opinion. See, in this examination, the ultimate purpose of essay writing is to take some decision or to understand some problem or to form an opinion, because opinion building is necessary for decision making. And for a civil servant, one critical attribute that must be present without any kind of debate is the ability to form opinions. But these opinions, should they be wild opinions? No, they should be well thought out opinions on the basis of application of rationality and logic. Do you understand that? So look here, let us take a topic, for example, say for example, Quad, the crux of geopolitical matrix in Asia Pacific or Indo-Pacific. Suppose that's the topic. So it's what kind of a topic? It's a geopolitical topic. Do you understand that? Now, can we bring in different perspectives? India's perspective, China's perspective, US perspective, and all kinds of perspectives. Do you understand that? And then on the basis of those perspectives, can we build some opinions or can we help the reader in building some opinions? Do you understand that? That's another way of essay writing, and that's the way by narrating a topic. Do you understand that? One is by way of discussion. Now, most of the people, they write essay in this way, by discussing it. Do you understand that? But at times, it may become more beneficial, depending upon the topic, that you also use narration. Do you understand that? Then, the third way of writing essay is by way of presentation. What do I mean by this presentation? In this, what happens is that you present a premise or you present a thesis or you present a theory. Do you understand that? It means a core central idea. That is what you are presenting. It is your core argument. Like, say, when scientists, they work, after the end of their work, what do? They present a theory, or they give a theorem, or they present a premise, or they present a core argument or a standard argument. And then what they do, all their following work is defending that argument. You understand that? So in this kind of essay, what you do is you present a theory or you present a premise. What is a premise? Premise is the basic core argument that you are making in the topic. Do you get that? And then what you do is that you try to bring out the positive aspects of that argument by using critical analysis, and then you try to bring out the negative aspects of that argument. Then you do some sort of weighing. It means what is positive and what is negative. And you again give what? You give a conclusion. And in that conclusion, what you do is you try to either defend the premise or you reject the premise. Do you get it? So you try to highlight all the good things about the premise, all the bad things about the premise, or at least the shortcomings in the premise that you are highlighting, and then you either defend it or you reject it. Do you understand that? Now, this kind of an approach, my friends, it is very helpful when it comes to philosophical essays. And you know that of late, UPSC is focusing more on philosophical essays or essays which are known as abstract essays. Do you understand that? So, think of a topic like, say for example, the character of an institution is reflected by the character of its leader. Can you understand that? It means how good an institution would be actually depends upon how good is the person who is leading the institution. Do you get it? Now, you can either support this premise or you can reject this premise. If you support this premise, you can bring all kinds of institutions, social institutions, political institutions, monetary institutions, all kinds of institutions, religious institutions, and you can always highlight that how you are supporting the premise. Do you understand that? And finally, what you do, you have to give a conclusion that why this thing is correct, that the character of an institution is reflected by the character of its leader. Do you understand that? So again, I'm repeating, we have just understood what is an essay. So what is an essay? It's a short piece of dedicated writing on a particular subject matter. Short piece means it is not written like a book. It is only 1,000, 1,200 words. Dedicated means the writer is committing himself or herself. He or she is remaining focused on what? On the subject matter. And what is it? It is nothing but the topic of the essay. So the biggest blunder that you can do in the essay paper is to move away from the topic. Do you understand that? The moment you do that, then that would be the biggest disaster that you have already committed in the examination hall. Never become atopical. Always remain close to the topic. How you can do that? Well, I'll explain that. Now, this essay finds manifestation, generally speaking, though there can be more also, but overall, you see, there are three ways in which this essay writing finds manifestation. First is by way of discussion, where you talk in detail about a topic, you touch all the angles of that topic, highlight the prospects, challenges, issues, suggest some way forward, and give a solution, finally, for the issues and challenges that you have highlighted. Then by way of narration. Narration is nothing, it's like a commentary. Do you understand that? So in a commentary, what a commentator does, have you seen that the commentator tries to highlight the different perspectives? Like suppose it's a cricket match going on, he will highlight the perspective of the bowler, perspective of the umpire, perspective of the batsman, perspective of the fielder. Do you understand that? So similarly, narration is when you bring in the point of views from all sides, different kinds of points of view. Then you can evaluate those point of view, you can criticize those point of view, you can decipher those point of views, whatever you want to do in the essay. And then finally what you do is, on the basis of those point of views, you help the evaluator / reader, because he's also the reader, you help him or her in building an opinion. Do you understand that? And that opinion should be, obviously, it should be valid and in tune with the demands of the topic. Do you get it? And then the third way is by way of presentation. Here what you do is you project a theory or you present a premise. Now, this theory could be your own also. Do you understand that? So who will score the highest amount of marks in the essay? Those people who can give some their own novel idea or some their own new theory or a new premise, because at the end of the day, when you will clear this examination, you will go into the bureaucracy and into the services. What you will become? Problem creators or problem solvers? Problem solvers. Do you understand that? So if you can come up with new approaches through which you can resolve problems, obviously that will gain a lot of traction in the eyes of the evaluator, and you will immediately catch his or her attention, and they will shower all kinds of marks on those kind of views. But they should be well thought out and constructed and comprehensive. Do you get that? And that is what we will learn in this course, that how we can do that. So do you understand what is an essay? That thing is clear, right? Let us, yes. Okay. Narration simply is there that you are bringing in different kinds of point of view. Like say for example, there could be a father's point of view, there could be a son's point of view, there could be a family's point of view on a particular subject, there could be religious institutions' point of view on a particular social issue, there could be government's point of view, there could be parliament's point of view. Do you understand that? Narration simply means that you are bringing in different point of views of different kind of entities. They could be individuals, they could be institutions, they could be even countries, they could be governments, they could be non-governmental organizations, they could be anything. Do Do you get that? So these kind of point of views or this kind of narration type of technique is very helpful when you are already holding large number of point of views. When you do not have large number of point of views, then your essay will look very shallow. You get it? So are you all clear with the meaning of the term essay at least? Good. So let us now ask ourselves the second relevant question. We have understood that what is an essay. Now the second relevant question is that what UPSC is actually trying to test by holding the essay paper. That's a very, very important question, because most of the people, they never understand that what UPSC is actually looking for in the candidate, and they end up writing the essay more or less in the same fashion they write their GS answers, and that is why they do not score very big in the essay paper. So the next thing that we'll try to understand is what UPSC is looking for in the candidate. So what UPSC is looking in the candidate. Now, look here. I already told you this, my dear friends, that essay is not like general studies. Because in general studies, what is more important? The range of your knowledge. How many things you know. But in essay, what is more important is how deeply you know, and how you can understand, and how you can frame opinions in and around it. Do you get that? In general studies, you do not get that much amount of liberty or time. Only in 7 minutes you have to do everything, right? But ideally, if there are 3 hours and 2 essays to be written, can I say that 1.5 hour is what you get ideally for one essay? So it's a long length of time, right? Where you can go deep into a particular topic. Do you get that? But in general studies, you do not have that much amount of luxury. It's more about what? GS is more about what? It is more about range of your knowledge. But essay is what? Essay is more about the depth of your knowledge. So this is the first thing that UPSC is seeking from you, that how deep you can understand a particular topic, how many perspectives you can build around a particular topic, how many ideas you can bring in, how many concepts you can discuss, how many scholars you can refer to, how many solutions you can give, how to implement those solutions, and what are the challenges in the implementation also. Do you understand that? It means the comprehension capability that you have got. Do you get it? So, if I have to list what UPSC is actually looking for in a candidate by asking or by holding the essay paper, I will note the following. Now, look here very carefully. अगर आपको ये बात समझ में आ जाती है कि यही UPSC actually देखना चाहता है आप में, then you will never write a bad essay if you understand these things. Do you understand that? So the first thing is UPSC is trying to check whether you have the ability to understand or whether you have understanding capacity. Let's say, for example, there is a topic. Investment in education is the best investment. Suppose that's the topic. Now, can you understand the topic? That's the first thing UPSC is looking in you. It means, do you have the comprehension, or can you comprehend the topic? Do you get it? That's the first thing. And once you understand it, whether you have the ability to analyze the topic. Now, what is analysis of the topic? Analysis means that all topics are complex topics. There are many things which are inherent in it. Can you break it down into simple parts, or can you break a complex problem into simple problems, or can you highlight all the different angles of that problem or that issue or that topic? Like, say, for example, suppose think of a topic which says that no country can progress unless women are given real powers. Do you understand that? So can you understand all the problems that are holding the women back? Here you can highlight this part of the thing that UPSC is trying to understand. So analysis simply means that can you break down a complex problem? Can you see it from multiple perspectives? That's it. And then, do you have the problem solving attitude? Now, it's a question of attitude. See, many people, they write very good essays, but they do not conclude it very well because they do not give any hint towards possible solutions. Rather, what they do is they criticize and end also by criticizing. So their answers or their essay answers or their essays, they look more like journalistic piece of writing. Have you seen in newspapers, certain journalists will only hammer or will only praise? Do you understand that? There is no balance of writing in that. A journalist's job is what? To ask questions, that's it, and then stop there. But what is an administrator's job? First, to identify the questions, understand those questions, and understand those questions from all the angles, and then come up with solutions. Solutions which are practical. Do you understand that? So that is the first thing UPSC is looking for in a candidate. Don't you think that if somebody becomes an IAS officer, these all things would be required? Understanding the issue. Suppose you are posted in a particular district where there is water scarcity and also there is farm suicides. So you have to understand that how there is a linkage. There are no banks in the region, suppose. Also, there is, suppose, class-based divisions in that part of the country. So you have to link all these kind of things. And then you have to understand every problem in detail. You have to find the interlinks between them. Then you have to adopt what? A problem-solving attitude. Do you get that? That's the first thing that UPSC is looking for. Second, you see, UPSC is looking that whether you can construct and present arguments. Now, what are arguments? Simply put, arguments are statements. That's it, right? And these statements can be built around an idea. They can also be built around a viewpoint. They can also be built around the concept. Do you understand that? So, arguments are nothing but they are statements. And you see, your speech is mostly made out of what? Different kind of statements. And through a statement, either you defend something, or you reject something, or you question something, or you challenge something. Do you get that? So, whether you can construct, it means can you frame your own statements? Because in GS paper, again you see, it's only 150 words. So, most of the times you end up writing definitions that you have read in your book or in some material or class notes. Do you understand that? But here, that would not be the case. So, whether you can construct your own statements, statements where you can defend something or through which you can defend something, statements by which you can negate something, by which you can reject something. Do you get that? So, whether you have that ability or not, whether you can form them and can you present them. Like say, for example, you know that as a civil servant, you have to brief the media also on several occasions. Like say, for example, you become an IPS officer and there is a communal riot kind of situation. Now, normalcy has been brought by the use of force. Now, the police commissioner is holding a press conference and there will be some hard-hitting questions. Do you get that? So, do you have the ability to construct and present arguments which are proper? That's what UPSC is looking for. And that UPSC cannot check where? In the GS section. UPSC can check that only in the essay paper, to some degree in the ethics case study section, but more deeply where? In the essay paper. Do you get that? Second is constructing and presenting arguments. That is what UPSC is looking for. Now you tell me, all arguments, are they built in and around some idea? Are the arguments rotating in and around some idea, concept? Say yes or no? Yes, they are all built around some ideas. So next thing, what UPSC see is that whether you can structure and present ideas. Now, structuring means that can you bring in all kinds of ideas and can you arrange them properly? Can you build a logical flow between them? Do you get that? If you cannot build a logical flow between different kinds of ideas, then your ideas are haphazard and they make no sense. Do you get it? Like think of this. Let's take that topic itself which we were talking about. Make in India. Now, make in India, is there an economic idea in it? Is there also a social idea in it? Will it also have some technological angle associated with it? Will it also boost our foreign trade? Will it also help in making India a superpower? Do you understand that? So there are different ideas. Can you bring all of them together? And can you arrange them logically? Logical arrangement means one idea should naturally lead us to the next idea. Like say for example, have you heard about that slogan? Zero defect, zero effect. Zero defect means there is no defect in the product. Suppose, think of this thermos. There is no defect in this thermos. That is what we are assuming at the point. And it has made no impact on the environment while it was being manufactured. Do you get that? So there is an economic angle, zero defect. There is also a kind of standardization that we are talking about, the idea of standardization and the idea of best product or state of the art technology. And then it is also leading us to where? To the damages that manufacturing can do to the environment in the long run. Do you get it? So our one idea should logically lead us to the next idea. And suppose then we are talking about environment protection. And if we talk about environment protection, so there can be social protection. And social protection in itself cannot be complete. We also need some legal protection. So that is leading us to some other idea, which is environmental laws, legislations, bodies, etc. And there can be some debates also around it. So that is leading us to say tribunals, which are around environment, like have you heard about the National Green Tribunal? So all those kind of things. Do you get it? So the third thing that UPSC is checking is whether you can structure and then present those ideas. And around those ideas only your arguments are built. So what structuring means? That you have brought all the ideas and you are presenting them in a well arranged manner. They are not haphazard, thrown all over the canvas, that it becomes very difficult to link those ideas. Do you get that? And you see again here, the ideas that you are bringing in, most of the ideas, can I say, will be borrowed ideas that you will be borrowing from whatever you have read throughout your life. Mostly you will borrow them from your general studies section, optional section. That is your major source. And current affairs, newspapers, from there you will borrow your ideas. But people who will score good, they will also, along with those kind of ideas, they will also present some novel ideas. Novel means new, which have not been thought of yet. It's your own idea. Like remember the novel coronavirus? So it was a new virus. Got it? So it's a new idea. So how many novel ideas that you are presenting in the essay will also be a major determinant that will ensure that how much scores you will make finally in that paper. Do you get it? Then UPSC is trying to test that whether you have scientific temper or not, and whether you have critical mindset. Now, what does this mean? Scientific temper. Scientific temper simply means that you are using logical arguments. You are using rational arguments. You are not making emotional appeals only. Do you get that? So, all your arguments that you are presenting are in and around ideas, and they are rational and logical, and they make sense. They can be empirically verified, because scientific means it is based on experimentation. And if the experiment's answer is in tune with your assumption, then you accept it. Otherwise, you reject it. Do you understand that? So whether you can test, or we can test, or someone else can test whatever you are saying scientifically, it means whether you are making your arguments by using your reason, or you are making your arguments just by, say, haphazard assumptions, or you are just talking from your emotive aspect of brain. You are just making strong emotional claims. Do you get it? That's what UPSC is checking. And then critical mindset. What do you understand by criticism? Is it positive or negative? It is both. Have you heard about positive criticism? Think of a film critic. What does a film critic does? He first tells you that what he liked in the movie. Then he tells you what he did not like in the movie. And then finally what he does is he gives you an opinion that whether you should watch the movie or you shouldn't watch the movie. Sometimes they will also give some stars or thumbs up or something like that to the movie. So critical mindset means that can you find out the pros and can you find out the cons? Do you understand that? Can you weigh them against each other, pro and con? And on the basis of which, can you make a judgment? Do you understand that? This is critical mindset. Do you get it? So if the cons are overriding the pros, or in other words, the cons are more than the pro, what will you do? You will not do it. Do you understand that? And if the pros are more than the cons of doing something, then you will definitely do it, and you will try to minimize the cons. So what should be our attempt in essay writing? To find out more and more pros. Do you understand that? So that we can override the cons. But sometimes there will be some topics where the cons would be more than the pros. So you have to adopt a different approach in such essays. Do you get it? So are you clear so far what UPSC is looking for? Then next thing that UPSC looks is how much command you have over the subject matter. Subject matter means the topic. How much command you have. It means how much knowledge do you possess. Though you are bringing in a very good perspective, but your knowledge is very limited. Do you get it? Like, think of this, that there is an IRS officer and he is taking a session. So there is a public session which is going on, and he is a public speaker, on one of the eminent speaker in one of the functions or conferences. And there are many people who have come there. Some of them are from taxation background, some of them are from legal background, some of them are social workers, some of them are aspirants, all kinds of people are there in the crowd. Now all of them may ask questions from their own perspective. Do you get it? But all the questions will after all be related to tax and taxation, because he is an IRS officer, and suppose the topic of the day is also tax and taxation. Do you understand that? But he knows the financial angle of taxation but does not know the legal angle of taxation. Do you think he will be able to make a good speech? No. So that's why UPSC, the next thing it looks for is that whether you have command, मतलब कितना hold है आपका उस subject matter पे, उस topic पे, कितना आप जानते हैं उसके बारे में. Then only you are making or the arguments. Do you understand that? So that's the next thing. Then you see that whatever you do, you present your argument or whatever you do, one thing that is tested is whether you have good communication skill or not. And here communication is tested by way of checking your writing skills. Now you look here. As a civil servant, you know, you have to engage yourself with multiple stakeholders, isn't it? You will be engaging yourself with your superiors, subordinates, people, law enforcement agencies, social organizations like NGOs, etc., central government, state government. So there will be a plethora of stakeholders or different kinds of stakeholders with whom you will be engaging yourself. And at times you know that you have to communicate, and you have to communicate well. Because think of this, that you are the returning officer. An IS officer also becomes a returning officer during the Legislative Assembly or the Lok Sabha elections. Suppose it's the Lok Sabha elections or the general elections that have been declared, and you are the chief electoral or returning officer in their district. And what has happened is you have made some bands by which you are ensuring what? Free and fair elections, but you failed to communicate well. So you can understand there can be chaos. Do you get it? So the next thing that UPSC checks is through your essay writing. It is not possible through your GS writing. Is it possible? No, the piece is too short. Do you understand that? So it is shorter piece than the short piece. Do you understand that? Essay is actually the short piece. If you have to write a book, you can talk more. Do you get it? So good communication. And what kind of communication? Interpersonal communication. It's not intrapersonal communication. It means you communicating with your own self. It is how you communicate with different kinds of stakeholders, because as an IS officer, as an IPS officer, or any other central services officer, you have to communicate with different stakeholders. And UPSC checks that whether you have that quality or not. Because UPSC is conducting the examination by keeping this thing in mind, that it wants the best talent to come into the services, right? They are not in any way looking for people who lack these kind of abilities. If they go into the services and they lack these kind of abilities, will they make a good officer? No, definitely not, right? And by communication, what UPSC checks next, that whether you have the act of, or whether you know the art of persuasion. Persuasion. Now, what does persuasion means? That whether you can convince someone with your arguments towards an issue or against an issue. Do you get that? Now, you know that suppose you are the IS officer and you have to implement some schemes. Suppose that scheme is a midday meal scheme. But you know that in a particular village, they are not very much happy with the children going to the school, especially the girl child going to the school, because they feel that education is useless. Rather, they should work in the fields, and in that way they will contribute to the overall family income. Now, do you require persuasion skills there? By persuasion, what you can do? You can change their attitude, you can change their behavior, you can change their thinking process. Only when you have the persuasion skills, you will be able to successfully implement the programs. Do you understand that? Many times you see that there will be some protests or there will be some processions going on, and the life of a civil servant is between protests and processions. Do you understand that? All the time you are either trying to curb any protest or any procession or something which is brewing in the society. So you are trying to put something before it hatches itself, or something which has already hatched itself, you are trying to put that back into the egg. Do you understand that? So for that, what you require persuasion. मतलब आपकी बात से लोग सुनने चाहिए और वो मानने भी चाहिए जो आप कह रहे हो. Do you get it? So that's the next thing that UPSC looks for. Then you see, UPSC looks for whether you have the decision making ability or not. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this thing, that whether you can take decisions or not. First you will persuade, and suppose even after your efforts of persuasion, they have not heeded to your appeal. Will you not take any decision? You still have to take some decisions. Do you understand that? So decisions could be easy when your persuasion works. Decisions could become difficult when your persuasion fails. Do you understand that? So keep this in mind, that decision making ability is perhaps the ultimate thing that is required. Because only when you take decisions, then only the vehicle of governance will move forward. Like, so for example, you're sitting in a car, you decide not to put any foot on the accelerator. Will the car move? Or you do not put the gear. Will the car move? So it's all based on your decisions. Do you understand that? So better the decisions, better will be your marks. Where you will take the decision? In the conclusion, where you will highlight the problem and you will help in taking the decision. Do you get it? Now, decision making ability is different from problem solving attitude. Problem solving attitude is your thinking process, that you will resolve it, and decision is actually what you are deciding to do. Do you get it? And then finally, UPSC also checks your approach. What is your approach in life? Are you unidimensional or you are multidimensional? Now, what is unidimensional? Unidimensional means you can only think from one angle. Multidimensional means you can think from multiple angles, or you can bring in all kinds of perspectives like social, economic, political, etc. All kinds of perspectives, geopolitical. But unidimensional means you are only sticked to one perspective. Do you get that? So these are the things that UPSC is actually looking for in the candidate, that whether he or she possesses understanding capacity, analyzing capability and problem solving attitude, whether he or she possesses the power or the art of constructing and presenting arguments, and whether he or she possesses the art of structuring and presenting the ideas around which the arguments are built. Then can you showcase your scientific temper and your critical mindset? Can you try to showcase that how much command you are having over the subject matter? Subject matter simply means the topic. Do you get that? Then how much or how good you are in communication. And many people feel that they are not so good in communication. But don't worry, through this exercise we will work on that and we will improve that communication. Because see, dear friends, let me tell you a very hard-hitting fact, that unless your communication is good, you will not become a good officer. Maybe you will clear the examination, but still you will not become a very good officer. Do you understand that? और जैसे select होगे वैसे ही retire भी हो जाओगे, growth भी नहीं होगी आगे. ठीक है? And then it checks that whether you have the art of persuasion. Can you cause a change in attitude, behavior, etc. through your arguments, through your ideas, through your different kinds of perceptions? Do you get that? Then it checks whether you have decision making ability or not? Finally, when the hour of crisis comes, can you take decisions or not? Like say for example, suppose an essay topic is something like this. India can be in anybody's tent, but not in anybody's camp. Do you understand that? So you can think of this from the geopolitical angle and think of the tussle going on between USA and China or USA and Russia. India can be in anybody's tent, but not in anybody's camp. Do you get that? So can you finally give a decision around it, that what should India do then? Do you get it? And there is a concept called strategic hedging, which says that India should hedge its strategic assets from both sides, so that if one side goes rogue or against India, still India does not suffer massively. First, that should not happen, and you should use your diplomatic skills for that. Like say for example, you see that US stopped every country to purchase oil from Russia the moment the Russia-Ukraine crisis started, but India purchased huge amount of oil, also built its strategic oil assets during that time period, right? Yet USA, did it impose any sanctions on India? No. So it was the victory of Indian diplomacy. Do you get that? And then comes the approach that you are holding, whether it is unidimensional or it is multidimensional. So do you understand now what is an essay? And do you understand what UPSC is actually looking for? Now we are all set to understand that how we should write the essay. But before we do that, we have to again ask ourselves one question. What is the demand of the essay paper? Not the meaning of essay, not what UPSC is looking for, but the demand of the essay paper. And to understand the demand of any paper, what should we do? We should just look at its syllabus. Do you understand that? Now, one thing that I have found in most of the aspirants is a majority of them, if not most, all of them, a majority of them, they are not aware about the syllabus of the essay. They are fully aware about all the syllabus of all the GS papers, optional papers, etc. But they are not aware about the syllabus of the essay. अब मैं आपको एक बात बता दूं, essay का syllabus जो है वो सबसे प्यारा है, 3 लाइन का. That's it. It's composed of only 3 lines. And you know, something which is written in lesser words has more meaning of it. Do you understand that? Like when Gandhiji said, be the change you want to see. It's small words, right? Or even shorter than that, do or die. Do you understand that? But there is a lot of meaning which is ingrained in that. Do you get that? So, what is the syllabus of the essay? You must understand that. And from there also you will get hint how you should write your essay. So, the next thing is that we'll try to understand what is the demand of the essay paper. And the demand of the essay paper, in order to understand that, you see, we have to look into the syllabus of the essay. So look here very carefully what the syllabus says. The syllabus says that candidates should keep close to the subject. I'm highlighting the keywords in the syllabus. Subject of the essay. That's the first line. Candidates should keep close to the subject of the essay. Then it says that they should present their ideas in well structured manner and write concisely. That's the second part of the syllabus. And the third line, it's only a 3-line syllabus, right? And the third line says that credit shall be given for effective and exact expression. That's it. अगर आप इस सिलेबस को समझ लेते हो और अगर आप ये समझ लेते हो कि यूपीएससी क्या चाहती है एक्चुअली आपसे ऐसे राइटिंग में, तो आप बुरा ऐसे कभी नहीं लिखोगे. It's my guarantee to you. Now look here. Keep close to the subject of the essay means what? It means you should never move away from the topic. Now, try to think by taking the analogy of a movie. Now, have you all seen this movie, Pursuit of Happiness? Have you seen that movie? Now, this is one of the best movies ever to be created. Pursuit of Happiness the lead actor is Will Smith, right? If you look from the first scene to the last scene of that movie, you know that he is chasing what? Happiness. Do you understand that? Or think of an Indian movie, say for example, you're aware about Lagan? From the very first scene to the last scene, you see that everybody is talking about one thing, and what is that? Lagan. Do you get that? So your essay should also be like that. UPSC is saying through the syllabus that from the very first word to the last word, you should never move away from the topic. Like suppose the topic is digital India, then you are keeping close to what is digital India. Do you get that? And you are bringing some legislative perspective, suppose in it, but do not go into the amendments of the constitution and then talk about reforms in the judiciary. That is not required. The topic is what? The topic is digital India. Do you get that? Most of the people commit this mistake, and this is the biggest and the most common mistake committed by aspirants, that they go away from the topic. When you go away from the topic, it makes no sense. Like say for example, when you look at Lagan, from first scene to the last scene, or when you look at Pursuit of Happiness, from the first scene to the last scene, you know that the topic that is being discussed is Lagan or happiness. You are very sure. Even in small scenes of such movies, like one scene where you see in Pursuit of Happiness that he goes to drop his son to the school. There you see the spelling of happiness, and he is also bothered about it. So it's a constant reminder to the audience that the thing is all about happiness. He says it's not a Y, it's an I. That's what he says. Do you understand that? And you see that in Lagan also, in one part, have you seen, if you all have seen that movie, that there is an English officer who is challenging the protagonist of the movie, and finally he accepts the challenge. And the challenge is what? In and around what? Lagan. You understand that? Or tax. Do you get that? So it is very clear in the head of the audience. That's why audience love these kind of movies, because they know that what they have come to see and what they are getting, there is a consonance between it. Now think of a movie like De Danadan. You don't know what is going on. Do you get it? So every time you see that the movie moves in some other direction, and you have no idea what is actually it is talking about. Or think of a movie like Bade Miyan Chote Miyan. What is it up to? You have no idea what the movie is actually trying to convey to you. Do you get that, dear friends? So the first thing that UPSC is saying is keep close to the topic. Do not move away from the topic. That is the demand of the essay. Do you understand that? And through the essay, UPSC is checking those things which we have just discussed earlier. Then it says ideas should be presented in well-structured manner. Well-structured manner means one idea should lead to another idea. Do you understand that? And there should be a logical and smooth, lucid flow in your ideas or in your arguments that you are making. See, when things are not structured well, even if they are complete in themselves, they make no sense. Like say for example, if I make this statement that in few years, it is possible that India will recover herself from the shocks of the COVID-19. She has to work on her manufacturing ecosystem. She has to push new technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and then there is a possibility that India can touch that hallowed $5 trillion mark of its GDP. This is a statement, right? And I've said everything, and everything is logically coming one after the other. Now, if I make this statement like this, 5 trillion mark, India, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. Do you understand that? Few years, manufacturing, ecosystem, full stop. Now tell me, does that make any sense? They have said more or less the same things, but the things were not structured well. So you have brought in all the perspectives, you have got all the ideas, you have brought all the concepts, but you have not arranged them in a well sequential fashion. And sequential fashion means a logical fashion. One should lead to the other. Do you understand that? It should be an automatic flow. Have you heard about something called lucid writing? Yes. So that is what UPSC is looking for next. So it should be well structured. All ideas should be complete, comprehensive, linked well to each other, and there should be logical flow between ideas and between perspectives. Then it says, write concisely. Concisely means what? Concisely means comprehensive yet brief. What does that mean? Comprehensive means that you should not leave any angle that is possible in and around that topic. Never leave any angle. But write in as many less words as it is possible to convey the message. Do you get it? Like say for example, suppose you are making a statement and the statement is something like this, that when I saw him, I was surprised. Suppose that is the statement, and that is how formal talk should go. But if you dramatize the thing, do you understand that? Then you are unnecessarily wasting your space and you will not be able to incorporate more kinds of views. Like say for example, this simple statement, when I saw him, I got surprised. It's a simple statement, right? And you are writing it like this. It was deep into the afternoon. The sun was blazing. The grass was flowing. My heart almost sank into my boots because I saw someone. My eyes tried to recognize him, but I failed. I recollected my thoughts, brought my memory bus back, and there he was sitting on the back seat of my memory. This looks good. Where? If you are writing some poem or novel or story, वहां पे ऐसे language use होती है, isn't it? But if you write it in essay, then obviously you can understand your one paragraph would become one page. Do you understand that? And your one page will contain only one idea. One idea. One idea per page. How many pages can you write? Mostly 12, 13, and 13, 14 ideas. And many times you will be repeating those ideas. Do you get it? Rather, your thought should be presented very precisely. It should be very concise in nature. Concise means it should be very brief and yet it should be comprehensive. You should not leave any angle, but you should not use more words. Learn what? Economy of words. And for that, what will help? Vocabulary will help. Because if you know vocabulary, then it will help you. Like say for example, you know what is credit default swap. You can directly use that concept. You know what is gross national happiness. You can directly use that concept. But suppose you do not have any idea about inflation, then you have to write the entire definition. So learn economy of words and do not write by using a lot of synonyms. पर्यायवाची जिसे कहते हैं ना, वो करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Like India was baffled by the US stance during the Cold War. It's correct. But इसको ये मत करो. India was baffled. It was in deep quandary. It was confused. It was perplexed. मतलब एक ही चीज बोला है आपने उसको चार वर्ड बोल के. Do you get that? So find the better word and use it. Otherwise, you will know that people are more interested in learning the essence of your sentence, not interested in knowing the hold that you have over a particular language. Because this is not a paper of literature. Do you understand that? So that is what the second thing that UPSC seeks by highlighting the essay paper. Ideas should be well structured and they should be presented concisely. It means they should be comprehensive. All angles of the idea should be included and they should be presented in as lesser number of words as possible. One paragraph, one idea would be fine. Do you understand that? One page or 1.5 page, sometimes I have seen the entire essay is only one idea. Do you understand that? So even they have written 2 essays, they have spent lots of time and energy, they get very low marks. Now see friends, that you can get something between 160, 170 also in essay if you prepare it very well. But marks have fallen as low as 35 also in both the essays combined. Combined marks 35 out of 250. Because though the aspirant has written everything, but because the ideas were limited, they were not comprehensive, the essay was not topical. Do you understand that? So because of all of this, the marks have fallen such drastically, they have gone down to 35. The next thing that the syllabus highlights is credit. Credit simply means marks, right? In your case, marks will be given for effective and exact expression. Now, what do you mean by effective expression? Effective means that whatever you are saying should create some impact on the mind of the reader. That is effective. Do you understand that? And what is exact? Exact means that whatever you are saying is accurate and it is precise. Precise means to the point. You are not going away from the point. You are not beating around the bush. And it is accurate. Accurate means how it is, you are presenting it the way it is. Like say for example, be the change you want to see in the world. That's a statement made by Mahatma Gandhi. So आपने ऐसा लिखा उसको. If you want to change the world, change yourself. Mahatma Gandhi. He never said so. Do you understand that? It's your statement. जो आप गांधी जी के नाम पे लगा रहे हो. Do you get it? So it is then not accurate. Or you are writing, be the change you want to see in the world, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Then also it is not accurate. Do you understand that? It means you are misquoting. Do you get it? So that is what is meant by accuracy. And precision means what? What has been asked, just talk about that. It means what is the topic, only talk about that, or whatever is the idea, try to first analyze and explain that idea, not everything else around it. First build the premise and then you can bring in other things. Do you get it? Make the things very clear from the onset. So what is UPSC's syllabus? First is you have to keep close to the subject. It means your essay should always be what? It should be topical. It should never go what? It should never go atopical. Do you understand that? Then ideas should be well structured. It means there should be a link between ideas. There should be a logical flow between ideas. One idea should lead to another idea. ये सब कैसे होगा अभी मत घबराओ इसके बारे में, उसके लिए ये कोर्स है. The point is ये करना है, पहले ये तो समझ लो. Do you get it? Then everything should be concise. Concise means comprehensive, yet it should be brief. Do you get that? And then marks will be given for what? Effective. Effective means impactful, and exact means accurate and precise. Do you get that? So now we will try to understand what are the different types of essay, or how can we classify the essays, right? So look here, when we talk about the classification of essays, we can classify the essays in various ways. One popular way of classifying the essay is to break it into formal and informal essays. So this is one way of classifying the essay. What is a formal essay? अब ध्यान से सुनना, बहुत important है. Formal essays are those which are rationally built. It means using your reason, and the arguments in them are logical in nature. Do you get it? So formal essays are those which are rationally built and they are logically developed. There is a lot of logic in whatever arguments idea that is presented in such essay. But these essays are not heartless. It doesn't mean it is all brain and no heart. There is definitely an affective component in these essays as well. Like say for example, if you are writing an essay on social justice, can you be only reason and logic all the time? There has to be some compassion also in it. Do you get that? And compassion will flow from where? From your heart or from your mind? First it should generate from your heart, then only you can bring it to your mind. Do you get that? So there has to be some affective component in it as well, but it should not be emotionally charged. Do you understand that? Then it becomes what? It becomes an informal essay. Do you get it? So a formal essay is one, look here very carefully, which is rationally built, which is logically developed, and there is some affective component also in it, and the essay is written within the bounds or within the limitations of formal language. Formal language means using all the etiquettes, all the conventions of the language which you have chosen as the medium of your examination. Do you understand that? It means you are not writing informal language, you are not using slangs. Like say for example, have you heard about something like this? Ain't, wanna, gonna. Some people write like this. I ain't gonna do anything about it. Now China ain't gonna understand what USA's wanna do. If you write these kind of essays, then obviously UPSC will not entertain that kind of thing. Think of IS officer who speaks like this. I ain't gonna know nothing about it. Cut the. You can understand that this is not the way you speak in formal atmosphere. Do you get it? So keep this in mind, that informal essays are what? Informal essays are those which use these kind of words. And informal essays are emotionally charged. There's a lot of emotion in it. It could take in the shape of blame game also at times. Do you get it? And informal essays are always, keep this point in mind, informal essays are always written mostly from first person or second person's perspective. It means there is a lot of I and you in it. Do you understand that? There's a lot of I and you in it. I feel, I think. It means it's all coming from your mind and it's all coming from your heart. Maybe at times it also has the color of deep emotions linked to it. Do you get it? So, what is the first way of classifying the essays? Look here very carefully. First way is to divide them into formal essays and informal essays. What are formal essays? Which are rationally built, logically developed. They have some component of affection also in them. They are not heartless essays and all brain. Do you understand that? They have some components like compassion, empathy, etc. in them. But they are always written within the bounds or within the limitations of formal language. It means following all the etiquettes, all the conventions of the language that you have chosen for your medium of examination. Do you get that? But informal essays are what? They are emotionally charged. A lot of I and you in them. First person, second person. Do you understand that? And they use words like ain't, wanna, gonna, whatever. The American lingo. Do you get that? UPSC rejects these essays. Do you get it? Now think of the situation. You have gone atopical. You have entertained only one idea. You are repeating your words. And you are using these kind of words. So 35 hi aayega na? Do you get it? So this is the first way of classifying the essays. The second way of classifying the essays is to divide them into generic and specific essays. Now look here. What are generic essays? Generic essays are those essays where the canvas is open. It means you can bring in any perspective, any idea, any concept. They are open-ended essays or they are like general studies. Do you understand that? So they're generic in nature. It means they are not related to one particular topic. They are essays on very broad topics. Do you understand that? Whereas specific essays are related to one particular topic. That's why specific essays are also at times known as thematic essays. There is a particular theme in that essay. It could be economic theme, it could be social theme, it could be environmental theme, it could be philosophical theme, it could be ethical theme, it could be any theme, governmental theme, geopolitical theme, any kind of theme. But it is always moving in and around one particular theme. Do you get that? But generic essays on the other hand are what? They are not linked to one particular theme, but they are essays from where you can derive multiple themes. Do you get it? Like say for example, there is a very famous line called India of my dreams. You know about it? Now you can talk about, can you talk about technology in it? Can you talk about society? Can you talk about economy? Can you talk about polity? Can you talk about trade? So it's multi-dimensional. Do you understand that? But if I say digital India, then I have limited the topic, right? You can bring in all perspectives, but you can never move away from digital India. Can you, in digital India, if suppose there is a paragraph which is written like this, suppose this is from somebody's paper and I'm bringing that paragraph and that person has not understood the art of essay writing and it's a specific topic which is thematic and the topic is digital India and his writing is like this. We all know what is right and what is wrong. We all know that all nations rise and all nations fall. We also know that India was looted by colonial powers. We understand that Ashoka was a great ruler. We also understand that India will one day achieve 5 trillion economy, hence digital economy. अब बताओ क्या हुआ ये? Do you get it? तो फिर वही मिलेगा 35. Got it. Now you see, till 2016, this is what was the practice. Most of the essays that UPSC used to ask were thematic essay. और लोग तैयारी भी ऐसे ही करते थे कि पार्ट बी में एक एनवायरनमेंट वाला लिख लेंगे, पार्ट ए में एक इकोनॉमी वाला लिख लेंगे. Do you understand that? This is how people used to strategically make plans till 2016. But since 2016, if you see, most of the topics are generic in nature. Got it? So that's another way of classifying the essays. The third way of classifying the essay is to divide them into concrete versus the ideal or abstract type of essays. Now, what are concrete essays? Concrete essays are those essays which are asked on topics or they are related to things which exist in the real world. You can find them. Like say for example, environment, society, economy, technology, government, international relations, whatever you can think of. Everything, internal security, disaster management. So everything that exists in the real world. And the second type of essay is abstract. Abstract means everything exists in the world of ideas. So these essays are coming from the realm of ideas. These essays are coming from the realm of reality. Do you understand that? Or if you see that most of the points that you are thinking around the topic are coming from GS 1, 2, 3, then they are more concrete in nature. Do you understand that? The essay is more concrete in nature. But if it is more about GS paper 4 that is coming to your mind regularly, then it is more ideal in nature or abstract in nature. Now look here one thing, and this is the most critical thing to understand. Previously this used to happen that in part A there were 4 essays, in part B there were 4 essays. You have to pick one from part A and one from part B. So one part UPSC used to give abstract. First UPSC started including one essay as abstract in both the parts, but it understood soon that aspirants are very smart, so they left both of them. Got it? So what UPSC did was it included one part as fully abstract. Like remember, say for example, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. Now character is abstract. Do you understand that? So how to do that? So even in these situations, there were few who felt so uncomfortable with the abstract topic that they decided to write only one essay. They did not write 2 essays, they wrote one essay. There were very few, probably a microscopic minority, but yet they did that. But UPSC has become smarter. Last year what UPSC did, all the 8 essays abstract. Jao, ab kahan jaoge? Got it? All of them were abstract. It means all of them were coming from the realm of ideas. It means you think them, you try to formulate them in your mind, and then you try to put them in the paper. Got it? Now look here. Nowadays, and I'm not saying that this trend might not change in future, but there is very less likelihood this trend is going to change, because this gives more opportunity to UPSC to learn about the aspirant who is about to appear for the essay paper. So that generally the trend is that there will be more abstract essays and there will be more generic essays. Obviously there is no question of informal essays, right? All essays are asked assuming that you will do what kind of writing? Formal writing. Got it? Then there is also another way in which we can see the essays. Look here. Some essays, this is also one way of classifying the essays, or this is the 4th type of classification. Some essays are expository in nature. Some essays are descriptive in nature. Some essays are narrative in nature, and some essays are argumentative in character. This is another way of classifying the essays. Expository means there is an exposition in it. Exposition simply means that you put forward an idea. Do you get that? So you are putting forward an idea, you are discussing that idea, and you are defending that idea. Do you get that? Or you are rejecting that idea. Do you get it? Like say for example, absolute freedom of speech is a mark of civilizational growth. You can either accept it or you can reject it. Do you get that? So these kind of essays are built around ideas, and they could be abstract also, abstract ideas. Do you get that? So expository essays are those where you present an idea, then you explain that idea, and then you defend or you reject the idea. Got it? Then comes descriptive essay. What are descriptive essays? Descriptive essays is, here you are only describing the things and you are leaving the canvas open for the reader to make his or her own assumptions. Like sometimes, have you seen in some novels or in some movies, the climax will be such that it will leave a question. And once you are out of the theater or you have finished the novel, then you are in the hangover of that movie or that novel, that what is actually the author or the director trying to say? Was it like this? Or was it concluded like this? Are you all aware about one movie called Inception? Have you heard about it? उसका conclusion आज तक बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं समझ में आया कि था क्या? Do you understand that? So there you see that people, some people, if it is a very difficult art to master, but once mastered, it's very good to write descriptive essays where you highlight everything. Then you leave the canvas open for the reader to understand, but when you are understanding, they also give some hints. Do you understand that? Like many times have you seen that there will be some YouTube videos on a particular movie explaining what the movie was? Because in the movie there are enough hints to get to a conclusion. But suppose आपने जो hint दिए वो पकड़ ही नहीं पाए evaluator, या आपने hint दिए ही नहीं, then it would become very difficult. Do you get it? So that's another type of essay writing which is descriptive in nature. Describing means just highlighting what exists. You get it? Like say for example, if somebody asks you, describe to me the city of Delhi, then you will highlight that where the metro is, which are the different colonies in Delhi, what are the historical monuments, what are the major occupations of people. So this is description. But then suppose you put a question that if you want livelihood, come to Delhi. If you want a life, leave Delhi. If you want livelihood, come to Delhi. If you want a life, leave Delhi. ये आपने बोल दिया. Do you get it? Or think of this, that आपने समझ लो, वैसे ऐसे लाइन तो कभी नहीं लिखना चाहिए, but मैं आपको समझाने के लिए कह रहा हूं. Some people have account on Facebook. Some people have account on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. And some people have life. Do you understand that? It means they enjoy real friends, real life, and others only in the virtual world. Do you get it? So this is descriptive, where you describe something in detail, you talk about something in detail, then you leave the canvas open and you allow the person who is reading the essay to make his or her own judgments, but you already know what judgment he will make. Do you understand that? Then only you have mastered that art. वरना आपने सोचा कि इस हिसाब से अब ये सोचेंगे, उन्होंने बिल्कुल ही उल्टा सोचा. आपने नक्सलिज्म पे कोई ऐसे लिखा है पर इतना क्रिटिसाइज किया है सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस को उसमें कि अल्टीमेटली आपका ये एम था कि वो ये चाहते हैं कि डेवलपमेंट हो जाए. मेरा ये कंक्लूजन मैं देना चाहता हूं कि डेवलपमेंट कर लो, नक्सलिज्म चला जाएगा. और उन्होंने आपने लास्ट में लिखा एंड हेंस द कंट्री शुड बी प्यूरिफाइड विद द ब्लड ऑफ कैपिटलिस्ट्स. ये आपकी लास्ट लाइन थी. तो ऐसा लगेगा जैसे लेफ्ट विंग एक्सट्रीमिज्म का कोई एरिया कमांडर भी इस बार एग्जाम दे रहा है. Do you get it? So that is what you have to keep in mind. Then essays could be narrative. I've already explained this type of essay. Narrative means where you bring in different points of view. And these point of views could be from an individual's perspective, institution's perspective. Can it be from BRICS perspective, AIIB's perspectives, NATO's perspective? All kinds of views. Do you understand that? And then you evaluate all such views, balance them against each other, and finally you help in building what? Opinions. Do you understand that? And the last one is argumentative. Argumentative means that you present some arguments either in favor or against, and then you again balance your argument. It means you highlight the pros and highlight the cons, and then you take a decision on the basis of if there are more pros or if there are more cons. Do you understand that? That is argumentative essay. Like say for example, think of an essay. Think of this essay that environment is the key, or say a clean environment is the key to social justice. Do you understand that? So if you get this topic, then you can build some arguments around it, positive, negative, and all of that. and then you take finally a judgment on the basis of your arguments. Do you get it? So see, I'm repeating myself one more time. Look here very carefully. We were understanding the different types of essays. So one essay is formal, the other type is informal. Formal means rationally built, logically developed, also have some component of affection, but everything written within the limitation of formal language using conventions and the limitations that are there in formal language. It means do not abuse. Do you understand that? Informal essays are emotionally charged, a lot of I and you in them, and they use words like ain, wanna, gonna, etc. Do you understand that? I have checked some papers where I have read lines like this. I ain't gonna know nothing about it. It makes no sense in the UPSC examination, right? It is very good on Instagram, but not very good on the paper. Then there is classification. Classification of dividing it into generic and specific. Generic means the canvas is open. Do you understand that? Like India of my dreams. अब किसी भी एंगल से देख लो इसको. Specific essays are also known as thematic essays. They are related to one particular topic. You can bring in other topics also, but only to support that topic. You get it? And then we can classify the essays in concrete and abstract. Concrete means they come from the world of reality. Abstract from the world of ideas. Abstract essays को ही बोलते हैं क्या? Philosophical essays. Do you understand that? A lot of GS paper 4 in it. Those people who will do very well in GS paper 4 are invariably the people who will very well, they will perform in the abstract essays as well. And I know some of my students who have scored well in abstract essays as well as GS paper 4. There's a great coincidence, and it's not a coincidence, actually it's a rational relation, because you have read your GS paper 4 very well, especially the 5th unit of the GS paper 4, moral thinkers and philosophers. If you have good command over it, you can always bring in ideas like, say for example, social contract. You can always bring in ideas like consequentialism and all of that. Do you understand that? And in that way you can talk about a particular subject. But again, you have to keep in mind that this is essay writing. You have to go deep. We cannot just write like GS papers. You have to present your own views as well. Just do not present John Stuart Mill's views or Bentham's views. Do not stop there. You have to present your own views also on it, what you have to say. And then essays could be expository. It means you present an idea, then you explain it, then you defend it or you reject it. Descriptive. You just describe the topic and then you leave the canvas open for others to make their own conclusion. Narrative. You bring in all the point of views, and then on the basis of all such point of views, you try to help the reader to build an opinion. And finally, argumentative, where you talk about the pros, the cons, and finally you take a decision on the basis of pros or cons. Do you understand that? Now, before we move into the different stages of essay writing, it is very important for us to understand the crux of essay writing. And the crux of essay writing is brainstorming. Do you understand that? Now, many times you have heard this, and you might have heard many toppers also saying this, that I did 40 minutes brainstorming in the hall, and that's why I got 160. One of my students, he got 148 in essay, and he spent 50 minutes brainstorming. Now, what is this brainstorming? It becomes very critical for us to understand. In fact, you know, no creative work can emerge without brainstorming. Do you understand that? Very literally put, brainstorming. What is a storm? Storm का मतलब क्या होता है? तूफान, right? So मतलब it's a storm in your brain. That's it. But this is a storm of what? This is a storm of thoughts. Do you understand that? Brainstorming simply means that you create the framework of the essay, or you develop the skeleton of the essay. Now, how many of you have experienced this, that when you're writing something, sometimes you are blocked and you cannot write anything further? This is known as the writer's block, right? This will happen only when you have not thought earlier and then you have started your writing. Or even while speaking, you see, many times people repeat what somebody asks them, and when they do that, they are actually thinking. जैसे कि आप किसी से पूछो, कहाँ गए थे आप? तो ये बोलने के बजाय कि मैं मार्केट गया था, वो ऐसा बोलते हैं, कहाँ गए थे आप? तो बोलते हैं कहाँ गया था मैं? मार्केट गया था। क्या खाया वहां पर? मैंने क्या खाया? गोलगप्पे खाए मैंने। Do you understand that? It means that they are thinking while they are repeating the question. When you will not do a good brainstorming, what you will do, you will keep on repeating your ideas because you do not have new ideas and you do not want to stop because the clock is ticking. You get that? So what is brainstorming? Brainstorming is nothing but you create the framework of the essay. It's like creating the caricature or the skeleton of the essay. Now you tell me one thing. Stronger the bones, stronger will be the organism. So stronger the brainstorming, better would be the essay. Do you get that? Now, you see, in other ways, what we can say about brainstorming, it is like you bring in all the ideas that you have, all the perspectives that you have, all the evidences that you can think of, all the contexts that you can think of regarding a particular topic, all the stakeholders that you can think of in that topic, all the, say, concepts that you can think of this such topic, etc. And you put all of them in one place. In the essay paper, you will get area for rough work. There is where you do the brainstorming. And you see, you put all of that in one place. Why? To have quick reference. Now, when your choice will be better in life? When your choice will be better in life? When you will choose the better thing? When you have more choices. Isn't it? Then only you will get the best thing. When you have lesser number of choices, you will end up with something because you do not know many things. So brainstorming simply means, look here very carefully, brainstorming means that you prepare the skeleton or you prepare the framework of the essay or you bring in all ideas, perspectives, evidences, context, stakeholders, concepts, whatever, you see, in one place so that you can make quick reference. Now you have to choose, suppose 10 ideas and you have already brought 40 ideas. Suppose, imagine, and you have to choose 10 among them. और जो सोच जिसको 10 चूज करना आई उसके 3 रहे आइडिया, तो अब एक ही आइडिया को तोड़ता है वो. Do you understand that? मतलब कई बार क्या होता है, एक ही आइडिया को रिपीट भी करते हैं वो, और ये अच्छा तरीका नहीं होता ऐसे लिखने का. Now the bigger question, how can we brainstorm? Well, let me tell you that brainstorming is an art and it cannot be taught. Let me be very frank with it, right? Brainstorming is something that you will learn with time. But yes, I can help you in learning brainstorming because everybody's brain is his own or her own, unique. So how you can think, how you can come up with different kinds of thoughts, you can only think about them, nobody else. But there are some techniques, popular techniques, objective techniques of brainstorming, which I'll tell you. And on the basis of these techniques, you can come up with your own notion of brainstorming, right? So these are the techniques. The first technique is the listing approach. Now, what is the listing approach? The listing approach is similar to preparing a list. Like say, for example, when you go for shopping, most of the times you prepare a list. When you feel problem while shopping, when you do not have that list in hand, and you go into the market and you get attracted by most of the things and you do not understand what you have to purchase. Do you get it? So first is you have to prepare a list. This is also known as the stakeholder approach. Now this is something which is used by most of the management schools, like say for example Harvard School of Business uses it, IIM Bangalore uses it. There are so many management schools, top B schools all around the world which uses this technique, listing techniques, right? Here what you have to do is you have to only identify the stakeholders. Stakeholders means who have some stake in it, मतलब जो उससे relate हो सकते हैं. I'll give you an example. Now think of this. Are you all aware about this thing called, say, COVID-19? Are you all aware about it? COVID-19? Well, perhaps bad memories associated with it. But suppose this is the topic, something around COVID-19. Now let us think about the stakeholders or who are the people who we can think about around COVID-19? Now you tell me. First, it affects people. So people become one of the stakeholders. Do you get it? Then does government has to play a role in it? Yes. What about health agencies? What about hospitals? What about pharmaceutical companies who were trying to manufacture the vaccine? What about foreign relations, like say for example, vaccine diplomacy? What about the law enforcement agencies during the lockdown? Then can I think all about businesses as well? They also got affected during COVID-19. So they all become stakeholders. Do you get it? So first you have to do is, ये brainstorming का तरीका मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. Just topic को लिखो और एरो बनाकर आप stakeholders के बारे में सोचते रहो. कौन कौन stakeholder होंगे? अब सबका एक एक perspective डाल दो, हो गया ऐसे. Do you get it? Write the essay from everyone's perspective, and the essay is complete. Do you get it? This is one technique of brainstorming. The second technique of brainstorming is the systems analysis. Now this is very popular among aspirants. Many of them, they do this systems analysis. What is a system? A system is something which is separated from the environment and it has a boundary. Do you understand that? Every system has some elements and there are links between them and there are flows across those links. Do you understand that? Let us imagine, think of the political system, and suppose the essay is something about good governance or something like that. So in the political system, can I say that the legislature has to play a part? What about the executive? What about the judiciary also? When politics goes wrong, judiciary has to play a part in it. Then people, what about NGOs? What about pressure groups? They all become the elements. Do you understand that? Now, some of the people are also into the legislators. They are also lawmakers. Some of them are also working in NGOs. Some of them are also part of pressure groups. Do you understand that? Some of the judges, you see that they are also interacting with the people, or the people are interacting with the judges. So it could be a political system, it could be an economic system, it could be a moral system. It could be anything, any kind of system. What you have to identify is, you have to identify the elements in it. Like say for example, the essay topic is investment is the key to development. Then can I think of the businesses, the MSMEs, RBI, all become stakeholders. Do you understand that? The stakeholders are nothing but they become the elements. Do you get it? And then you have to do what? You have to find out the link between them. What is the link between RBI's monetary policy and credit growth in the economy or growth in loans? Do you understand that? And then you have to understand the flows. Flows could be repo rate, reverse repo rate, all those kind of things, and how it is affecting the people at large. These kind of things. Do you get it? So you find out the elements, you establish the links, then you study the flows, and these flows will become your ideas. Do you get it? This is the second way of doing brainstorming. Slightly you see difficult than the listing approach. Many favor the listing approach, but they end up doing the systems analysis. Do you get it? The third way, yes. System analysis one more time. Okay. Look here. What is a system? A system is something which is separated from the environment by a boundary. Now, if the boundary is, say, it is porous, then I can say that it is interacting with the environment. It's an open system. If the boundary is solid, then it becomes what? A closed system. So societies could be open, societies could be closed also. Even ideas could be open and ideas could be closed. Do you understand that? Now, in every system, you see there are some elements like E1, E2, E3, En up to En. There are some elements. All elements are linked to each other or with some other element through links or through bridges. Do you understand that? Like think of this. Think of the transportation system. We talk about the transportation system. So in the transportation system, can I say bus stops or railway stations, airports, they are all nodes or they are all elements. And suppose the roads, the railway line, the airway path, all of these becomes what? Links. Do you understand that? Now think of two bus stops and think of a bus moving across the road which connects both of the bus stops. The number of people moving is the flow. Similarly, the number of goods moving in a truck would be also flow of goods and services, flow of people. Similarly, there could be flow of ideas. Do you understand that? Flows are also communications. Do you get it? So think of this, you have to find out those. And then you have to find out that what are the links that exist between them. One element can have link with more elements. Do you understand that? An element can also have a feedback link with its own self. Are you getting it? And then there will be some flows over it. Flows could be unidirectional, bidirectional as well. Do you understand that? Some elements from where flows may radiate in all directions. This is systems analysis, right? I told you it is slightly difficult to master, but once mastered, it pays rich dividends. So are you clear with the listing approach and the systems analysis? I have lack of space, that's why I am erasing them. I hope you are clear with both of them. Okay. So the third approach of brainstorming is the organic approach. Now, what is this organic approach? Sometimes it is also known as the evolutionary approach. And there are many aspirants who follow this approach, evolutionary approach or organic approach. इसका मतलब ऐसा है, you know that all organisms, they grow with time. They are first young, then they mature, and then they grow old. So in this kind of essay writing, there is always a time sequential discussion. Time sequential discussion, and there is always a reference point. And discussion takes place pre and post kind of thing. Like say for example, think of a reference point, and I'm giving you the reference point, which is 15th of August 1947. What happened on this day? India got independent. So we can think about what happened India post-independence and pre-independence. Or you can think about something like this. Say for example, we are talking about the rights of the Divyangs. Then can we think what happened in ancient India, in medieval India, then modern India, post-independent India, and India of the 21st century? Do you get it? This reference points could be anything. Pre-liberalization, post-liberalization, pre-Cold War, post-Cold War, pre-disintegration of USSR, post-disintegration of USSR, pre-Russia-Ukraine war, post-Russia-Ukraine war, anything. So this reference point could be an economic event, it could be a geopolitical event, it could be a philosophical event also. Like say for example, scientific philosophy, Newton's discovery of gravity. Did he invent gravity? No, he just discovered gravity. It already existed. So how it changed our thought process. So pre and post medical revolution, agricultural revolution, IT revolution, ऐसे करके भी आप अपने ऐसे को बढ़ा सकते हो. Do you get it? This is the organic approach. It means like an organism, you grow and in a time sequential fashion. Do you get that? Now think about how judiciary was before the judges case, how judiciary was during the evolution of the collegium system, what happened to the judiciary when the NJAC was scrapped, what happened to the judiciary today when it asked about questions how it can reform the collegium system, what can happen to the judiciary in the future. Do you understand that? So all those kind of things. Did you understand this approach, organic approach? Then comes again a very popular approach among aspirants, which is the subjective approach. Now what is this subjective approach? It is also at times known as the contextual approach. और जब कुछ ना समझ में आए तो ये approach आप apply कर सकते हो. Very easy to adopt. Just think about your syllabus. Just think about your syllabus. Think about the subjects in GS paper 1. World history, can you get a point from there? Can you get a point from society? Can you get a point from geography? Can you get a point from social justice, international relations? Can you get a point from science and technology, agriculture, economy, internal security, disaster management, all those kind of things, right? Just imagine your syllabus and bring the points. The point is here that the essay topic has to be generic. Do you understand that? Otherwise you will become ए टॉपिक का। अब है ऐसे समझ लो, लिखा हुआ है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एनेबलर ऑफ 21st सेंचुरी, क्लियर कट टॉपिक। इज इट अ जेनेरिक टॉपिक और स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक? Specific topic, right? And there you are writing about what Gandhiji said during non-cooperation movement. It makes no sense, right? He said that you have to be intelligent to fight the British, and today we have to fight greater evils, hence artificial intelligence. इस टाइप के statements लिखोगे तो then obviously you will destroy your chances. So what you do is here you just try to take the help of your syllabus. You get it? I told you 4 approaches. The first approach was listing. Find out the stakeholders, and from everybody's perspective, each stakeholder's perspective, try to discuss the topic. But do not go away from the topic. Second is systems analysis. Find out the elements, find out the links between the elements, and find out the flows that are taking place between the links. Third is the organic approach, which is time sequential, which is evolutionary. It grows with time. Do you understand that? So for this, what you have to have? A reference point. It could be an event, it could be a philosophical movement also. Like say for example, Darwin's evolution of species. Before that, the world, and after that, the world. Alexander's invasion of India, or rather the failed invasion of India. Do you understand that? Events before that and after that. And then comes the subjective approach, where you have to bring in different contexts: economic context, environmental context, science and tech context. It means just take the help of your syllabus. That's why it is necessary that you must know each nook and corner of your syllabus. So what mostly students do is they either go for the listing approach or they go for the subjective approach, right? And then there is also a fifth one, and I take a lot of caution while I say this in the class, because many they get attracted by this approach. It is very difficult to master this approach, but it is possible. And we will do that in the class. It is possible to master this approach if you can do brainstorming in this way, especially in abstract essays. Let me tell you, my dear friends, जो भी सोच रहे हो उसमें 50 तो ऐड कर लो आज ही. जो भी मार्क्स सोच रहे हो अपने लिए उसमें 50 ऐड कर सकते हो आसानी से. अब हाँ, अगर ऑलरेडी 200 सोच रहे हो तो पॉसिबल नहीं है. Point is, realistically जो भी सोच रहे हो आप उसमें थोड़ा ऐड कर सकते हो. What is concentric approach, or I call it the coherent concentric approach. What is this? Have you heard about concentric circles? It means what? Circles having a common center, right? So think of this. Suppose this is that center, and center is what? Center is actually the topic, and then what you do is you build ideas around it from different perspectives, but all those ideas, they culminate at the center, or they are reflecting towards the center. Like say for example, Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Do you understand that? Now think of this. Is it true for an individual that you do not put yourself to test? It is not worth living, you are just surviving. Do you get that? Is it true for a family that only in times of distress we will understand what is the power of family? Is it true for society? Is it also true for nation? Is it also true for the global community? Do you understand that? But all of them are relating to one thing, and what is that? An unexamined life is not worth living. Do you understand that? So you build the perspectives like this, but if you can all close it down, it will be closed at the center. Do you understand that? It's like rings emanating from a certain idea. It's like a dead pond water and you are throwing a stone. Do you understand that? And that is the stone of thought process. And that ripples would be created and they would move in all directions, but they will all emanate from the same point. Do you get it? So this is what is the concentric approach. For abstract essays, the best approach, concentric approach. क्योंकि abstract essays में अगर आप सोचोगे पॉलिटी का एक पॉइंट ले आता हूँ, इकोनॉमी से कुछ लिख देता हूँ, maybe you will not be able to score big. Do you get that? So 5 approaches, what are they? Listing, systems analysis, organic, subjective or contextual, and concentric. Do you understand that? Most difficult but most rewarding. It's like a matchstick. Do you understand that? you can either light your home or you can burn your home. So it's like that. So use this approach very carefully. You get it? So now we'll try to understand what are the different stages of essay writing. Look here. When we talk about the stages of essay writing, these are the stages. First stage is selection of the topic. This is the first stage, and many people struggle in this stage itself. Which topic they want to select, and the struggle is more when they know few things about every topic. Do you understand that? The struggle is less if you do not have any idea about some topics. The struggle becomes more when you have no idea about any topic. What to write then? That's the first stage. Second stage is obviously it is brainstorming. And do you understand what is brainstorming? It is creating the skeleton. It is creating the framework. Or it is bringing in all ideas, concepts, perceptions, viewpoints at one place for quick or ready reference. Do you get it? Then comes the third stage. And what is this third stage? It is the actual writing stage. Then comes the fourth stage. Many feel that here is where essay ends, but there is a fourth stage as well, and that is the review and revise stage. How we can use this stage, I'll tell you. But let me start with this one, selection of the topic. How do you select a topic? Many people, what they do is, let me tell you, the moment they get the essay question paper, this is what they do. They see it, Digital India going to revolutionize the economy in 21st century. हाँ मैंने पढ़ा है Digital India 3-4 बार और शुरू हो जाते हैं लिखना. Whatever they can write, 1 and 2 pages into their writing, and they're facing the block because they have not got enough matter. Remember, UPSC is also checking what? Your command over the subject matter. How much you know about the topic. You only knew that much which was required or which was enough for a GS answer. But now you have started writing 1200 words, and after 350 words you are struggling. So hence you are writing. Therefore, Digital India is very important. But it is also important that we focus on programs like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and Make in India. And Pradhan Mantri, yaad nahi aa raha, Udyami, Udyog, what was? Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Ye yaad hai. Now you understand that you are going away from the topic. Do you get it? So how to select the topic? It's a very big thing, and it's one of the greatest skill of essay writing. See, first thing is that when you select the topic, you have to keep something in your mind. First thing is familiarity. It means you should be at least aware about the topic. कभी सुना कभी तो देखा होगा topic के बारे में. Like say for example, if the topic is something like say wetlands are necessary for protecting the health of the environment. You have some idea about what is wetland, what is environment, all of that, and you can write something about it. Do you understand that? But if the topic is derived thorium circles, अब कुछ idea नहीं है. Do you understand that? Then you should not choose that topic because you have no idea. Sometimes people feel they have idea, but they have no idea. Like say for example, the topic is Internet of Things. आपने सोचा Internet तो पता है मेरे को, Things भी पता है, तो यही होगा. Internet of Thing, and Internet is a thing. आपने ये prove कर दिया last में, though it is a service, but it is actually a thing. तो सोच लो क्या होगा फिर. Do you understand that? So the first thing is you should be familiar with the topic. Familiarity with the topic is the first important thing for choosing the topic. Then comfortability. It means how comfortable you are with the topic. Like say for example, your optional subject is political science and international relation, and this essay is geopolitical. Do you understand that? Or your optional subject is geography and this essay is environmental. So you have a great degree of comfort in that. So try to pick such kind of essays where you are feeling more comfortable. First you see if there are 8 topics and suppose you are aware about only 6, 2 you have no awareness, just drop them immediately. No need of wasting your time over them. Wherever you are aware, just then try to see where you are more comfortable in writing. Do you get it? इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आप ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करोगे तो ज्यादा आइडियाज, ज्यादा परसेप्शंस और जो भी है वो कहां मिल सकते हैं आपको. That is what you have to check. Then what you have to do is, after attaining this, you have to see that what is the propensity, or you can say the probability of others writing this topic. This is also a very key thing that you have to learn in essay writing, that I am picking this topic. How many others might also be writing on the same topic? Like say for example, suppose 15,000 people are giving the civil services main examination, and the essay paper, like the GS paper, is a common paper for everyone. So everybody will be writing the GS paper, the essay paper, right? And suppose there are 3 topics. The first topic is digital India. The second topic is the unexamined life is not worth living. And the third topic is circumthorium currents. Do you understand that? अब आपको क्या लगता है मैक्सिमम लोग किस पे लिखेंगे? देखो, ये आपको एक सर्वे करने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, but automatically your brain says that most of the people would be writing on what? Digital India. So let us think that out of these 15,000 people who were appearing for the examination, say, I would say nearly 12,500 will pick what? Digital India. Right? Maybe then 2,000 will pick the second one, and maybe 500 only who have special knowledge about science and technology. They will pick this one, the last one. Do you get it? Now think of this. In order to take good score in Digital India topic, you have to write an excellent essay. Why? Because there are how many comparison points for your essay? 12,499, because yours is one of them. Do you understand that? So there are so many good essays, or so many essays at least, with which you have to compete. So every time the evaluator is evaluating it, suppose he has got a bundle of 100, there's a great chance that 90 of them would be of Digital India. और उसी में हो सकता है आपका भी बंडल हो. So then वो देखे वही same point, ये भी same point, then you can understand your chances will be very less to score big. Do you get it? It means you will get what? You will get lesser marks because you have to write an excellent essay for it. This is also very crucial for you to understand that don't go for topics, such topics which most of the people will pick. अब अगर बात ऐसे इस पे आ जाए कि आता ही इसमें यही है डिजिटल इंडिया, वो लिख रहा होगा तो लिखे कोई और, मेरी बला से मुझे क्या जाता है, मुझे तो यही लिखना है. Do you understand that? If that is the thought process, then you see, then also it is correct. Why? Because it should not be the primary determinant. Primary determinants are what? Familiarity, comfortability. Only when you are comfortable and familiar with most of the topics, go for the topic which is least likely to be picked by most of the aspirants. Then the number of sample sheets will be less. Do you understand that? Hence, the comparison factor would be less. Lesser the comparison, greater is the chance that things will be chosen. Do you understand that? Like say for example, there are only 2 shirts and you have to pick one. Most probably you will be picking one very quickly. Do you understand that? But if there are 5 crore shirts and I ask you to pick one, how much time will you take? If you have to see all of them, you get that? So time would be more. So here in the same way, if suppose you have written something about the second one, the unexamined life is not worth living. So in that bundle of 100, maybe 5 people have written that. So you have to just write better than 4 people. But in that case, there you have to write better than 89 people in that bundle of 100. Do you get that? So that's the third thing that you have to keep in mind. But again, having said that, keep this in mind कि ऐसा नहीं है कि इसकी probability बहुत कम है. Propensity means tendency that others will write it. The chance is very less. That's why I am picking it. और आपने ले लिया circumthorium currents or something like that. आपको पता ही नहीं है क्या वो. आपको लग रहा है कोई तो नहीं लिख रहा होगा इसमें, मैं ही लिखूंगा बस. So there will be only one reference point. Suppose you have only written and he reads it and he feels that okay, it's time for lunch. That's what he will feel. And what he will do, he'll put your paper if government allows him, and then he'll eat over it. because कुछ लिखा ही नहीं होगा आपने उसमें. Then you see the other things that you have to keep in mind while you're picking your topics or you're choosing your topic is how much is the diversity in the topic. It means, can you bring in multiple angles or can you only talk specifically about a certain angle? Greater the chances of including more angles, then you can understand greater is the chance that you will be feeling comfortable when you are doing what? The brainstorm. Do you understand that? How diverse is the topic? It means in how many areas you can take the topic to. Science, technology, maybe society, economy, environment, polity, ethics, wherever you can take it. Do you get it? So try to look at that also while choosing the topic. And then finally, novelty. Novelty means how many new ideas you can bring in with such a topic. And in philosophical topics, you see, there is always possibility of bringing in more new ideas. Because scientific topics में अगर आप लाने जाते हो, समझ लो मशीन लर्निंग पे आप एक ऐसे लिख रहे हो, अब कहाँ से नया आइडिया लाओगे आप? उसके लिए तो आपको मशीन लर्निंग पे रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा. तो first become a PhD and then try for UPSC. Not be possible, right? And that too in machine learning. So try to think that where you can bring in more new ideas. So 5 things you have to keep in mind while you're choosing your topic. And what are they? Familiarity, comfortability, probability or propensity, diversity and novelty. Do you understand that? If you are familiar with most of them, then go for where you are most comfortable. But if you are comfortable with most of them, then go for that where people are least likely to write. And if you have chosen that, check whether it is diverse or not. If it is very limited, then don't go for it. And then check how many new ideas you can bring in there. Do you get it? I have already explained the brainstorming, right? So let's move to this thing, which is actual writing. Now, most of the people feel that, remember, one of the demand of the essay syllabus was candidates should keep close to the subject of the essay and present their ideas in a well-structured manner. Well-structured manner means every essay should contain introduction, body and conclusion. Well, most of the people feel that these are the 3 stages of essay. But actually, there are 4 stages if you look more deeply in essay. The first stage is introduction. The second stage is interpretation. The third stage is elaboration. And the fourth stage is conclusion. Sometimes you would see that interpretation and elaboration combinedly, they become the body of the essay. So these are the 4 stages in essay writing. Look here very carefully. What is introduction? Simply put, introduction is where you build the basic premise, where you present the core argument, where you let the evaluator or the reader know that you have understood the topic. Do you understand that? That is introduction. So what is introduction? Introduction is where you introduce the topic or you try to put forward the premise around which you will build your essay. Do you understand that? Like suppose there is an essay on some environmental issue. And have you heard about that need-greed principle? There is enough for everyone's need but not enough for everyone's greed. So if you write that line as your first line in the essay, you make the evaluator know right from the word go that you have understood the essay. That suppose it is on environmental degradation. Do you get it? Environmental degradation, a greater threat than nuclear weapons. Suppose this is the topic. And if you can make this quote right at the outset, then you have set the premise of the essay. Do you get it? So introduction is what? Where you introduce the topic, where you build the basic premise, where you let the evaluator know that I have understood the topic. Do you get it? Then comes interpretation. Interpretation is when you can find different perspectives, different dimensions in the topic. How many perspectives you can find out, how many dimensions you can find out, how many facets of the topic you can find out. Perspectives means the same topic from different viewpoints. And in narrative type of essays, you see, this becomes very important. Dimensions means in how many areas you can take the topic. Remember the subjective approach, where you can take the topic in various dimensions or in various areas. Now, listen to this very carefully, friend. The extraordinary aspirant would be one who will be using all the techniques during brainstorming. Do you get it? So that he get more and more material while writing the essay. Dimensions means how many areas, how many subject areas where you can take the topic. Facets means how many angles from where you can look at the topic. Viewpoints could be point of views of scholars. Do you understand that? Angles would be like from which side you are looking at the topic. Like say for example, investment or say privatization of railways. You are looking at it from which angle? From growth angle, or you are looking at it as a reform, or you are looking at it as a job generator, or you are looking at it as a better service delivery reform, or you are looking at it as a necessary thing which is required to attract tourism or investment. Do you get it? So the different facets. It's like it's that stage of the essay where you see that here you show the evaluator that I have brought the peacock with me. जो मोर होता है ना, you have got it. And here you show the evaluator that this is the peacock in its full glory. A peacock showing all her colors or all his colors, to be more precise. Do you understand that? So showing all colors, it means all the different perspectives of the topic, all the different dimensions, all the different facets. Do you get that? In elaboration, what you do is, look here very carefully. You take one perspective, one dimension, one facet at a time, and then you elaborate. You understand that? Just write one paragraph over every one of it and your essay is complete. Do you get it? Now look here. This is what you will get where? This interpretation is when you will derive this, when you will doing brainstorming. That itself becomes your interpretation. Do you get it? And then you take one perspective, one dimension, one facet, and you try to build over it. Got it? And how can you build over it? You explain it. What is that perspective? Then you provide some evidence in its favor or evidence against it. Then you develop the concepts or discuss the concepts around it. Then you talk about the various ideas that can be brought into its context. Everything. That is elaboration. Do you understand that? This is the meat part of the essay. And then comes conclusion. Conclusion is where you conclude the essay. And concluding the essay is actually very important. If you ask me which is the most important portion of essay writing, I'll say all of them, but conclusion more and above anything else. Because conclusion is something which creates recency bias. Do you understand what is recency bias? Recency bias is what happened the last remains with you the most. Like say for example, if you go to a theater and you have gone to watch a movie, suppose the movie was average, but the conclusion was extraordinary. Will you prefer that movie or will you prefer that movie? The movie was more or less extraordinary, but the conclusion was not very good. What will you prefer? The conclusion was, because the recency bias stays. Do you understand that? So how your conclusion should be? The conclusion should be first, it should be thought-provoking. It means it should send the reader to a thinking trail. कि जाओ सोचो क्या मैंने लिख दिया है. Do you understand that? So put the reader or the evaluator in that thinking trail and let him or her discover now the beauty of your writing. It should also be practical. The solution should be practical or the conclusion should be practical. It should not be impractical. It should not be vague. It should not be such that it cannot be implemented in the real world. Remember, some of the essays you have to give the way forward also and conclusion. So conclusion means your final view and that should be practical. Also you see one thing, that when you are concluding, one major mistake which students do is that they repeat the introduction. A big no for this. If you are repeating your introduction, you are not going to get marks, because in conclusion see one thing, what is more important is that you have to reserve or at least withhold some idea, ideally a novel idea of your own, for the last. Do not push everything in the essay everywhere. Some idea, some novel idea which gives a twist of thought, that should be reserved or kept very secretly for the last, which should be the most impactful idea, because then it will create what? The recency bias. Do you understand that? And let me tell you how students mostly introduce the essay. There are various ways of introducing the essay, but one most common way of introducing the essay is, suppose the topic is the unexamined life is not worth living, or the topic is, suppose, an investment in education is the best investment. So the essay starts like this: yes, the investment in education is best investment because you have just added 2 words, you have just repeated the topic. Do you understand that? Introduction should not be like this, and conclusion is like this: hence, investment in education is the best investment. You're not going to get marks, my dear friends, if you write that kind of an introduction and conclusion, right? So do you understand the different stages of the actual writing? They are introduction, interpretation, elaboration and conclusion. Look here very carefully. In introduction, what we do is we introduce the topic. Do you understand that? We put forward the basic premise, the basic argument around which we are going to build the essay. We let the evaluator know that we have understood the topic and we will remain topical to it. Do you get that? And then in interpretation, we present the different perspectives, dimensions, facets. Perspective means viewpoints. Dimensions means different areas where we can take the essay. Facets means different angles from where we can look at it. Then elaboration, what we do is one perspective, one dimension, one facet, whatever we have written here, all the facets, we take one at a time. We explain it, we provide evidences for it, we build ideas around it, we provide concepts around it, we criticize it, all of it. Do you understand that? And then comes conclusion. The conclusion should be the powerful part of your essay, most powerful part. All parts should be powerful. This should be the most powerful part, where you write something which invokes thought, जो मजबूर कर दे evaluator को सोचने पे. Think of those kind of movies where you came out of the theater and you were still in awe of what the director did. Do you understand that? And you suggested others also to go and watch that movie. In fact, you also many times watched it. And even when, if you like the movie, it is being telecasted on television or something like that, you still take time, if you have time, you watch it again. Though you know everything, because you're enjoying it. So your essay reading should be an enjoyment for the evaluator. If it is a pain for him, then obviously you can understand that he'll just try to complete whatever he can as quickly as he can. Got it? Do you understand the 4 stages of the actual writing? And what are they? Introduction, interpretation, elaboration and conclusion. Interpretation and elaboration completely, they form the body, and that is the structure of the essay. Do you get that? Now we'll try to understand in how many ways we can introduce our essay. This is a very important art. So when it comes to introduction, we can use several techniques to introduce our essay. One popular technique which many people use is introducing an essay with a quote. But first thing, you should not misquote, and you should relate it only to that person who has actually given the quote, right? That is the precaution that you have to take while you are introducing it with a quote. And the quote should not be repetition of the topic. The unexamined life is not worth living, and your quote is, the unexamined life is not worth living. और conclusion भी वही है, hence the unexamined life is not worth living. अरे वो तो दे दिया है, अब आप क्या समझते हो ये बताओ ना उसके around. Do you get it? So one way is to introduce it with a quote, right? And for that, what you should do from today onwards is, you should at least collect 10 quotes, and you should try to use them intelligently. Ideally, you should have a bank of 50 quotes, great things said by world leaders and all. Some of it you can find it in your ethics material as well. So one way of introducing the essay is by quote. The another way is by an anecdote. What is an anecdote? It's a short story. It's a short story to build the background for the topic. Do you understand that? Like say for example, you are writing something about the transgenders and you introduce an entity, a person, and then you begin the essay by highlighting that person's troubles, day-to-day troubles, and immediately you catch the attention of the evaluator and you tell him or her that you have understood the topic and you're building now the base of the topic by highlighting a real world situation. Now this anecdote could be a cooked up story also that you can cook up, but keep this in mind that many people, they start the essay with a short story, but then they cannot maintain the story. That's a very big problem. Like say for example, they're writing something on urban rural migration or rural to urban migration or brain drain or something like that, or people moving from rural areas to cities and how it is building slums and all of that, and their migrants are also facing problems, all of it. So look here, some people can introduce this with an anecdote by drawing a real life example, or think about the problems that migrant laborers face during lockdown. You understand that? So you can bring in a real life story. Suppose you are writing something on sports ethics or something like that, or suppose sportsmanship, you can actually bring in an incident of some great sports person, a footballer, a cricketer, a boxer, anyone. Do you understand that? And you can actually build the essay on that argument. But the anecdote should be very short. It should not be very long. 50 words, that's it, not more than that. It should not be going into 3-4 pages. Then you will be writing a story instead of an essay. तो कुछ लोग ऐसे करते हैं, जैसे कि समझ लो एक essay के लिए anecdote लिख रहे हैं, and that anecdote they are trying to discuss, say, the migrant labor problem. So they write something like that, say, Rajesh is a migrant labor who has come from X city. He is also having a brother Mahesh. Mahesh has a friend Ramesh. Ramesh's brother is actually Suresh. Suresh has a friend Geeta. Geeta has a sister Renu. So many characters. Do you understand that? और समझ में नहीं आता है कि आधे characters तो कभी फिर आए नहीं ऐसे में. Do you get it? So it has to be a very short story. And the story should be actually, it should be thought provoking. It should not be just description. It should immediately hold the evaluator or the reader directly to the essay. He should be like something like this. Suppose he's just evaluating everybody's paper and it got your paper and started reading your introduction, and then it should be like this. Do you understand that? That I've got a good paper. Let me read it. उनको भी अच्छा लगता है. And I'm telling you that when you learn economy of words, do not explain everything like you do in your GS papers. Assume कि जो paper check कर रहे हो उसको ही पता है, right? उसको पता है उसको कि जो भी आप use कर रहे हो वहाँ पे words. Try to learn that. So this is the second way. And what is the second way? Through an anecdote. The first way is through a quote. The third way is also becoming very popular now, is by a poem or a shlok. This is also another way of introducing an essay. But when you write the poems and shloks, first, if you're using somebody's, then write their name and write exactly what they have said. And use such poems which have wide validity. Also, you can start the essay by the excerpts of some speech. Like, have you heard about that speech of Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream? So suppose you are writing some essay on social justice, you can bring in some lines of that speech and start from that point. Do you get that? Poem should be what? Poem should be such poems like, say, suppose you're writing something about Shakespeare, you're writing something about, say, William Wordsworth, or you're writing something about, say, Robert Frost. Have you heard about Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, which is Shakespeare's sonnet? Then maybe Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. You can also talk about Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear and the Head is Held High. Do you understand that? You can also talk about some Hindi poets, like, have you heard about Ramdhari Singh Dinkar? Have you heard about Sumitranandan Pant? So you can use their poems as well. But when you write these poems, you have to provide English translation also. You can use some famous lines said by the Tamil poet and grammarian and philosopher Thiruvalluvar. Have you heard about him? So you can use his lines as well. So the point is, whatever you do, you have to do that. You can bring in a shlok from, say, Mundak Upanishad, Maha Upanishad, or something like that, Bhagavad Gita. Many people start like that, and it has become also fashionable that they write Sanskrit shlok, but then you have to give an English translation because that's the chosen medium of your examination, right? Do not any language. It can be any language. The point is you have to give an English translation. It could be anything, Bengali, Telugu, Marathi, anything. But the point is what you have to do an English translation. But preferably what I will say is, even if you don't write the original version, just start with the English translation. That will be also fine, right? But do not misquote. And speech, I've already explained, like Martin Luther King's speech. But एक चीज देखो, poem का मतलब ये नहीं है कि शायरी. Do you understand that? और कुछ लोग तो WhatsApp वाले शायरी लिख लेते हैं, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. Like if suppose you are talking about your own self improvement, there is some essay like that, और अगर तब आप ऐसे शुरू करोगे ऐसे को, मैं और मेरी तन्हाई अक्सर ये बातें करते हैं, तुम होती तो ऐसा होता, तुम होती तो वैसा होता, तो ऐसा वैसा हो जाएगा पेपर में तुम्हारे, ठीक है? और फिर कैसा कैसा नंबर आएगा ये सोच भी नहीं सकते. So always these poems should be very formal. Do you understand that? This should be, and do not write such kind of lines. Some people have written Bollywood dialogues also when they were starting the essay. Some people have written Hollywood dialogues also because they thought those dialogues will be good. But keep this in mind, dear friends, that जो evaluate करते हैं ना, उनको लगभग सारी चीजें ही पता है, आपसे थोड़ा ज्यादा ही पता है, तो इसलिए वो बहुत जल्दी पकड़ा जाता है that these are not your work or something like that. So this third way. Another way is where you narrate the entire thing. And narration means you start with a point of view. You start with a particular point of view, and that point of view only is the crux of your argument. Like say for example, if it's an essay on justice or rights or something like that, and this is what you are writing. Injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. Immediately you set the tone of the essay. Do you understand that? So it becomes very easy for the evaluator now to keep himself or herself hooked to what you are writing. Then also you see there could be some description or descriptive way of starting the essay. Descriptive way means that you are describing something, and here you can use some lofty words, like say for example, guarded by the majestic mountains in the north, washed by the oceans in the south, lies the great Indian civilization. So it is a good line, right? So it's a geographical description that you are making. You can make a political, philosophical, any kind of description, and you can start your essay in that way as well. Essay can also be started by interrogation. Interrogation doesn't mean that you will behave like a police officer. Interrogation means that you will ask some relevant questions. Like say for example, if the essay is on economy and we want to achieve $5 trillion economy. So you start something like this, that can we achieve the $5 trillion economy without reforms? Question mark. Immediately you set the tone. Do you understand that? Can we achieve it without infrastructure? Question mark. Can we achieve it without demographic dividend? Question mark. The answer to all these questions lies, and you can go on. Do you understand that? So in this way you can start your essay by asking relevant questions. They should be relevant question. Irrelevant question nahi hona chahiye. Do you get it? Like suppose if the essay is on philosophical topic and you are asking questions like, will the judiciary really reform itself? Are the judges for real? If these kind of questions you ask, then obviously you are not going to get any marks. And the last way of introducing an essay, though there can be more ways also, but itna aap dhyan mein rakho, itna kafi hai, is by a comprehensive definition. Comprehensive definition of what you are saying. Like say for example, the topic is Internet of Things. So give a standard definition of Internet of Things. Standard definition means how suppose it is defined by some international body, or suppose you are writing an essay on gross national happiness, then how it is defined by the Bhutanese government actually. You give that definition. Do you understand that? Or with a definition also, you let the evaluator know that I have understood the topic. You get it? So comprehensive definition would be another way by which you can actually introduce the topic. Got it? So look here, how many different ways of introducing the topic? By a quote, by an anecdote, by poem, shlok, or speech, part of speech, not the entire speech, right? Like many people will start the essay with that famous speech made by Pandit Nehru at the strike of midnight, when the world sleeps, India will awake in freedom. All those kind of speeches. Or what Subhash Bose, he made Netaji's speech, many times that is used. Do you understand that? Swami Vivekananda's speeches from Chicago, that speech, that is also used. Or you use the narrative way, you present or start with a point of view and then build other point of views around it. You can adopt a descriptive approach like geographical description, philosophical description, any kind of description. Interrogative approach where you ask some relevant questions, questions which are actually related to the topics, which make the evaluator think right from the word go. And the last one is comprehensive definition. Keep this in mind that if for essay number 1 you are starting it with a quote, do not start the second essay also with a quote. Otherwise it gives an impression as if you are a factory kind of product. You have practiced that type of essay writing and that's why you are writing this kind of an essay. So try to adopt different approaches at least for the 2 essays that you will be writing on the examination day. Anecdote means, dear, a small story. Like suppose you are trying to explain women's rights to people. So you take the story of a little girl who was denied education because there was no toilets in her school. Do you understand that? She was forced to drop out. Or suppose there was social currents in where she is living where they do not celebrate the idea of girls going to school. Do you get that? You can also make a story of your own. But what you have to keep in mind that the characters should be limited and there should be a protagonist. और उसी के around build कर दो story. ठीक है? बहुत ज़्यादा characters भी नहीं और कुछ लोग ऐसा करते हैं वो director बन जाते हैं फिर वहाँ पर वो अलग-अलग scenes डालते हैं वो ज़रूरत नहीं है scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. No need of doing that. Just a small story, 50 words, that would be enough. So are you clear with this? Now, look here. Yes. कौन सा वाला? Narration. Okay. See, in narration, what you have to do is you take a point of view, particular point of view. Like say, for example, this essay is on terrorism, and your point of view is at the very start you are making it highlight that there will be zero tolerance for terrorism. Do you get it? And around this you can build your other arguments. Why there should be zero tolerance? Because it hurts human rights, it is going against national interests, it is also hurting the property, it is also destroying relationships between countries and all of that. So you can build other things as well. But the root argument that you have taken is zero tolerance for terrorism. Got it? Now, look here. There are also some tools that we can use while we are brainstorming. I told you the techniques of brainstorming, but there are some tools as well which you can use for brainstorming. Now, what are these tools? One most popular tool is the algorithmic flow chart. And generally, people who come from a science background or who are engineers, they generally adopt this thing when they are doing brainstorming, knowing or unknowingly. Then there is the block diagram. This also help you in brainstorming. Then there is, have you heard about this? Mind maps. Mind maps and also at times geographical maps. This will also help you in brainstorming and finding stakeholders, for example. Now, what is algorithmic flowchart? Look here. Algorithmic flowchart goes something like this. You start with a proposition, right? And then you have two situations, yes or no, 1 or 0 kind of thing. If we move towards this direction, then what will happen? Privatization of railway, non-privatization of railway. Then you can think in that way. That is algorithmic flowchart. It means I do this, then in which direction I will move, If I don't do this, then in which direction I will move? And do I have a third direction also? Do you get it? Block diagram means, say for example, you identify certain blocks. Say for example, in women education, you can find out some blocks like women, self-help groups, NGOs, government, and then you can draw the links between them, the relation between them, and then you can talk about how you can utilize women or NGOs or women health, self-help groups or government's policies in promoting women education, all those kind of things. Mind map. What is mind map? Simply put, mind map is what is written in the book. You try to pictorially, you try to show that, right? So it's a pictorial representation of what is already written in the books. Like say for example, that you're talking about, say, India's geopolitical relations. So you write India, then you can write Quad. India is a member of the Quad. India is also close to USA. India is also close to Israel. India is also close to West Asia. India is also close to ASEAN. And for everything you write few points underneath that. So this is nothing but your mind map that you are building. Do you get that? So these are tools, these are not approaches. These are tools, and these tools will help in different approaches. Well, when you will be carrying them out.
So this has to be done in the mind only, or like
No, on the paper. You will get rough sheets for that. You'll get rough sheets for that. Geographical maps. Geographical maps also help in identifying few things. Like say for example, think about this. That suppose we just take this under consideration and there is an essay on say Indo-Pacific or Indian Ocean Rim region. Then immediately look at the countries. All the countries which surround the Indian Ocean become the stakeholders. Or सबके perspective से ले आओ. So this also helps while you are trying to do that. And students who have geography optional, they often take help of this, right? अगर नहीं भी है तब भी ले सकते हो. रोका थोड़ी ना किसी ने. So you can do that, right? So do you understand the different tools of brainstorming along with the techniques? No. Yes.
Can we block diagram or
Can we?
use block diagram can we?
Yes, we can, dear. We can, dear. We can. I'll address that question in detail at the end, but we can to some extent. How we can, I'll tell you. Okay. So look here. Now that takes us to how we should conclude our essay. Remember, conclusion should be what? It should be thought-provoking. It should be practical in nature. Do you get that? Because conclusion creates what? Recency bias. So how can we conclude? First, we can conclude with a quote. We can also conclude with a poem. Can we conclude with an anecdote? No, we cannot conclude with an anecdote. Anecdote is always used for introduction. We can also conclude, say, with a way forward. We can also conclude way forward and solution. We can conclude like this. We can also conclude by asking relevant question again. But this question should be thought-provoking this time, not relevant only. Thought-provoking, like say for example, think of an essay on environment, and suppose we ask one question that if the earth is a spaceship, all of us are crew, none of us are passengers. Question, or aren't we? Do you understand that? Do we have a plan B? Question mark. If the earth vanishes, do we have a plan B? Question. It means you have made them understood that you have understood the topic and this is what you feel, that we must work for conservation. Do you get it? Now look here. The solution that you will be giving or the final conclusion that you will be providing, the solution should be practical. Now what do we mean by practical solution? Practical solution means that first, it should be politically possible. आप एक ऐसा solution दे रहे हो जिसमें आप ये बोल रहे हो that democracy should be removed and dictatorial approach should be adopted. Is it politically possible in India? No, democracy is a part of the basic structure. It cannot be changed. Do you get that? Similarly, you see, it should be the solution should be constitutionally and legally, it should be permissible. You cannot say those who are doing riots, let's take away all their fundamental rights. Do you get it? It will not be constitutionally or legally permissible. There can be absolute restrictions on their rights under some circumstance if there are laws enough. Like, have you heard about the UAPA law? Then you can bring it into the context. But आप ऐसे blanket statement नहीं मार सकते. Then you have to see that it is socially acceptable. The solution should be socially acceptable. Society should accept it. Then it should be culturally permissible. Suppose the essay where you have identified one problem, that some of the people are resisting some of the medicines because they feel that they are made by extracting material from animals and they are vegetarian. So they don't want to consume those medicines. अब आप ये नहीं बोल सकते वहां पे, then let us preach all the people to eat meat. It's not possible, right? Because if somebody does not want to, you should give that person the freedom, isn't it? It should be culturally permissible. It means it should be in tune with, say, religious beliefs, tenets, because these are fundamental rights, right? It should not be abridged. Then it should be economically viable. It means ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपके solution को implement करने जाए तो इंडिया का forex reserve ही खत्म हो जाए. Do you get that? So it should be possible economically, whatever you are suggesting. Then it should be environmentally sustainable. It should not be such that whatever solution you have given, it is completely destroying the environment. So it should be environmentally sustainable. And it should be technologically possible. Suppose you are writing an essay where you want to protect the environment and finally the topic was something related to energy extraction by using environmental resources, and finally you give the solution that it would be better that if we go to the Andromeda galaxy and from there we pick all the energy from the super nebula which is there at the core of Andromeda. बताओ मार्स तक तो पहुंचे नहीं है, तुम एंड्रोमेडा पहुंचा रहे हो. Do you understand that? It means that it is not technologically possible. So your solution should be what? It should be politically possible, it should be constitutionally and legally permissible, it should be socially acceptable, culturally permissible, it should be economically viable, it should be environmentally sustainable, and it should be technologically achievable. Do you understand that? That is what your solution should be. Once you have completed the essay, because the conclusion is also done now, then comes the fourth stage of essay writing, and this is review and revise. Many people never touch this stage, and those who do, they get great marks. See, when you are writing in the full flow of writing, what happens is sometimes you do not take care of grammar. Sometimes you have asked a question but you have not put a question mark. So when there is no grammar, there is no punctuation marks correctly, then obviously you have written because you were thinking, somebody is reading. Is it necessary that he will also start from the same thought process from where you started? No. So you should help. Think about a book or a newspaper which does not come with punctuation or full stop or comma or question mark or bold letters or ideas which you feel are necessary to understand. They have not been highlighted properly. Then you will make no sense with the newspaper or the magazine or the book or anything else. So your essay should also be like that. Last 10 minutes should be given to that. And you all will be able to do that. Last 10 minutes, just read the essay very in a jiffy, and whatever you feel punctuations, do correct it, and you see that it will obviously increase the readability of your essay. पढ़ने में वो और अच्छा हो जाएगा. Do you understand that? बहुत सारे लोग ये करते हैं कि ये वो कभी नहीं करते, अपना ऐसे लिख के खुद ही नहीं पढ़ पाते हैं कि क्या लिखा है, और वो पढ़ने की हिम्मत भी नहीं रहती है. क्योंकि कई लोग तो ऐसा भी लिखते हैं, हमारे इंडिया में एग्जामिनेशन का मतलब क्या है, ऐसा सर 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 डोंट टेक इट, उसका बस चले तो वहां भी लिख दे. If you write your answers like that, obviously it means you have never got the time to review what you have written. Think of an engineer who constructs a building but never goes and checks it after that. Constructs it and then said goodbye, I'm done. What about water leakages? What about all kinds of problems in it? Isn't it? So you should always have this thing. Now comes another question, that how should we manage our time in the essay paper? Is that not very challenging? Yes. So see, ideally, this is how time should be managed. How much time do you have, by the way? 3 hours. How many topics? 2 topics, right? So ideally, what should go? 1.5 hours per topic. But this is theoretical division. It's not possible all the time. So first thing is, remember the topic selection, how you will select the topic. How would you select the topic? Familiarity, comfortability, probability, then diversity and novelty. These 5 things you keep in mind, then you choose your topic. Ideally, this should happen. 10 minutes of your time should go for topic selection. This is the first thing. 10 minutes. I'm saying this is worth investment. No, you have to write only 2, not 8. It's not possible. From the 8, you have to select 2. 10 minutes. It means what? 5 minutes per topic. This is enough, right? Don't go more than that. Then second thing is 30 to even I would say 40 minutes if it's possible. Go for brainstorming. Because if you have stormed your brain well, then you will not get blocked in between while you are writing. You will continuously write. But when you have not brainstormed properly, suppose 5 minutes देखा अपने topic को, 3 minutes में brainstorming हो गया और लिखना शुरू कर दिया, then sometimes you might feel after writing 4 pages I have selected the wrong topic. But nothing can be done now because that's a QCA booklet. It has limited time and space. Do you understand that? Also, one more thing is if you have done proper brainstorming, then all the points are in front of you. And after all, when you will be appearing for the examination, you will be all graduates. At least if you are not, and if you are, then obviously you are a graduate. Some of you could be postgraduates as well. So the point is कि graduate और postgraduate को अगर हम idea दे दें तो फिर वो paragraph तो बना लेगा. Isn't it? ये assumption है. अगर ये भी नहीं बन रहा तो फिर छोड़ दो. Preparation. You understand that? It will happen with time. So 30 to 40 minutes brainstorming. Then how much time is already done? 50 minutes, right? Then you divide 2 hours, 1 hour each for one essay. That's it. Okay, you tell me one thing. In GS answers, without doing brainstorming, you start writing. And in GS, 150 words is written in how much minutes? How many minutes? Okay. So suppose I multiply it by 6, it becomes how much? And I multiply this by 6 becomes how much? 900 के आसपास चला गया, ठीक है? And you are left with how many more minutes? 18 minutes, isn't it? In 18 minutes, can you write 300 more? 1000 is the minimum and 1200 is the maximum that they are looking for. But even you can score big by writing 900 also, 850, 900 also, if it is an abstract essay, very well written. I have seen some papers where they have written very well, very good essays, and abstract essays 850, 900 words. But I have also seen people who have written 1400, 1500 words, very bad essay, right? But never fall below 900 generally, because it's the aim of essay paper. आपने लिखा ये 4 पेज, एकदम खरा सोना, लेकिन लिखा ही 4 है. So then you have not written or you have not addressed the demand of the paper. 1000 to 1200 words. The idea is to see whether you can entertain an idea over a period of time. You get it? And for longer themes. Then you are left with how much time? How much time? 10 minutes? That's what you are left with? Last 10 minutes. I'm assuming suppose you did 40 minutes brainstorming. 10 minutes you do review and revise. That's how you should do. Right? This is how you should manage your time. Now, let me tell you some do's and don'ts about essay writing. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? और इसको तो बिल्कुल आप ध्यान में रखना हमेशा जब भी आप ऐसे लिख रहे हो. One do is that always remain what? Topical. Never go atopical. Second, always use what? Formal language and not informal language. Third, always build your arguments how? Rationally. Do you understand that? Do not give vague arguments. Give rational arguments. Fourth, always have an inclusive approach. It means never write lines which are, say, racist, sexist, casteist, or have communal tones, all those kind of things. Inclusive. Always adopt a democratic and participatory approach. Democratic, it means people should be in charge. You understand that? Whatever solution you are giving or something like that. Participatory means all the stakeholders should be given their due role. Do you get it? So these are some of the do's that you have to do. But even if you fail here and you do not follow any do, still it is good. But if you violate the don'ts, then it is perilous for you. It will be disaster. Now what are the don'ts? First, never go against the constitution. Never go against the constitution. Second, never make sweeping generalizations. Sweeping generalizations means you give a final thought and you do not leave any window open for criticism. It's a final, full and final sweeping generalization, blanket statement. No, coming with no other perspective, possible perspective. Do you get it? Then, never criticize the state. And keep this in mind, the state is not government. State is India. Do you understand that? Never criticize that. You want to go into the Indian administrative services and you are criticizing the idea of India. How can you be then welcomed into the services? So never criticize the state or the security forces. Suppose you are highlighting something about UPSPA or something like that and you are saying that the army is committing atrocity. If you write such kind of lines, definitely my friends, then the door will be closed immediately for you to go into the services. Never criticize the security forces, right? These are some don'ts, unsaid do's and don'ts. Then, never make closed arguments. Closed arguments and sweeping statements, they are more or less linked. Sweeping statements, you say, you are drawing a broad generalization. You are saying like this, suppose that people of Africa, they lack academic skill, hence the continent is backward. It's a very sweeping statement, very derogatory, isn't it, to the people of Africa? You should never do that. And never make closed arguments means you're making an argument something like this, that nationalization of banks is the only way out. We should never think about privatization of banks. It means again you are closing the door on another argument. Do you get it? But two things keep in mind. Never go against the constitution and never criticize the state or the security forces. And when you are highlighting the problems in a government policy, use a mild tone. Do not use a very harsh tone. And remain within the limitations of bureaucratic language. Do not write how it is written in newspapers. Most of the times aspirants, उनकी मजबूरी है वो पढ़ते ही newspaper है उसमें लिखा ऐसा होता है. So they get excited by such kind of lines and they end up writing such lines. Do you understand that? So these are some of the do's and some of the don'ts that you keep in mind when you are doing essay writing. Right? Now I have brought some FAQs which I have collected from students and I'll just highlight these FAQs. इसके अलावा अगर आपके भी कोई questions होंगे, so I'll address that also regarding essay writing, and then I'll tell you that what we will do from the next class onwards. But I hope that now you have some idea about essay writing. The booklet that has been given to you, this booklet, go through this booklet and you will learn a lot about essay writing. Whatever I have said is mostly discussed in this booklet, right? I've tried to keep it as small as I can, but also you see that this booklet has some sample essays. So just go through those sample essays, and these are some hints, not the essay as such. These are hints that you should follow and you can write your own essay, because never try to by heart something in essay. It would be very dangerous, right? And then finally, there are some practice topics, essay practice topics. So you can practice them also. Clear? Now, let me talk about the FAQs that I have experienced or I have encountered. First is, should I write the topic? Should I write the topic, the name of the topic, the essay that I am starting? So generally see the QCA booklet is something like this. Write an essay in one of the following, not more than 1200 words, and then the 4 topics would be given, ABCD. And you have to write about one. So what people do is they start writing. And if they start writing, then अगर आप अच्छा लिख रहे हो फिर तो ठीक है. अगर आप ऐसा वैसा कुछ भी लिख रहे हो, समझ लो, it becomes very difficult for the evaluator to understand which topic, 2 or 3 or 4. Sometimes he feels okay 2, sometimes he feels 3, sometimes he feels 4, sometimes he feels frustrated. Do you understand that? And if you frustrate the evaluator, that's the worst thing that you can do in your life. Do you get it? So what is advisable? Write the topic very clearly. Make in India. Digital India must samajh lena. Make in India. That's my topic. Suppose, very simple topic I'm taking, though this will never be asked. But I just search, look, make in India. So write in caps. And if possible, also draw 2 lines, because that's the formal way. If you don't want to do it, then also it's possible. Some people make boxes, that's also fine, but the box should be at least neat and clean. ऐसा नहीं कैसा भी एक बना दिया. Second question that I have encountered is, should I write subheading? See, subheading is not required in essay. Like in GS papers, you write some subheading, prospects, challenges, etc. In essay, it is not required. Also, it is all not required. Some people start like this: introduction, then they introduce, then interpretation, then they interpret, elaboration, then the elaboration, then conclusion. Arey, no need of writing these things. It is self-understood. Do you get it? Now, if you feel that you want to introduce a new idea, always use a topical sentence. Topical sentence means, suppose there are 3 ideas that you are having: an economic idea, social idea, a philosophical idea, and you write 3 paragraphs. First paragraph you introduce with an economic statement which highlights that idea. Second paragraph you introduce with a social statement which highlights this idea. And the third one, a philosophical statement which introduces this idea. So the first statement, you make it the topical statement for every paragraph, or every 3rd paragraph, 4th paragraph, that depends upon how many points you have. Do you understand that? But never use the subheadings, because if you use subheadings, then it will not look like essay. It will look like amalgamation of different kinds of GS answers. Sometimes the structure of the essay is very easy. Like say for example, artificial intelligence, prospects and challenges. Suppose yehi hai topic, prospects and challenges, artificial intelligence. So the topic is very clear, right? Define artificial intelligence, the prospects and the challenges. But these type of topics, the days are done. ऐसे topic अब और बहुत कम आते हैं. Most of the times it is philosophical in nature, abstract in nature. Then, should I include illustration? Illustration means block diagrams, maps, charts, etc. You can do it in an essay, but do not overdo it. Like in every page you are doing something. Like if suppose you are writing an essay on Quad, will it not be nice to show the different countries in and around the Indo-Pacific region, which is the target area for Quad? The US is only on the other side, right? But all the other countries are mostly here, India, Japan and Australia. So you can highlight that, it will be good. You can use some block diagrams also, some algorithmic charts also, because these are tools, but do not overdo it. And whenever you make something, always try to make it with pencil, so that if it goes wrong, you can erase and you can remake it. If you start making it with pen, it will become very difficult. And always put it in a box. Put it in a box, because then it improves the presentation. You make the diagram with the pencil and you label it with a pen. Use blue or black, whatever is suitable for you. Then the next question that I have highlighted, that I have found is, should I use highlighters and should I highlight? Never. Never use highlight. This is not your notes. Never use highlight. Only 3 things allowed: pencil, black pen and blue pen. See, these might appear to some silly questions, but they are not. Many people have committed mistake in that. कुछ लोगों ने red pen भी use किया है. Because if you highlight, suppose that can be construed as a effort to create a mark to identify your paper when it will go to the evaluator, right? Then, should I write long paragraphs or short paragraphs? Well, my suggestion is always short paragraphs, not long paragraphs. Long paragraphs, कुछ लोग ऐसे लिखते हैं that suppose this is the page. They start from here and they go on and they end here, yet the idea is not finished. In the next page, you will see that somewhere here they are ending the idea. They are writing continuously. And when you write long paragraphs, first it becomes boring because everybody wants some change, otherwise it brings monotony, right, in writing. Second thing is grammatical mistakes chances also increase when you write long paragraph because you will be using many words of conjunction like however, moreover, but also, all these kind of things. Sometimes you will change the speech, sometimes you will change the tense, all of it. And ultimately it might look very chaotic. That's why suggestion is always write short paragraphs rather than long paragraphs. Then how many paragraphs in one page? Ye question bhi aaya hai. So see, well, it depends upon the font size of your writing, but I'm assuming that it is average font size. Then in one page, I would say ideally 3 paragraphs. 3 paragraphs in one page and some spacing between the paragraphs, say 1 line. That would be good, right? It enhances the presentation. What should be the length of the introduction? What should be the length of the conclusion? And what should be the length of body? Ye bhi pucha gaya. So look here. Again, I'm saying that how many words you have to write in the essay? 1000 to 1200. So I'm not going by words, but I'm giving you a rough estimation. The introduction and the conclusion, it should contain 1/3 of the length of your essay. Do you understand that? So suppose it is 300 words, 300 to 350 words. That's it. That should be the length of your introduction plus conclusion, which should be slightly longer. Depends what kind of ideas you are holding. Whether your introduction is more catchy, then invest more words there. If your conclusion is more catchy, if you feel, then invest more words there. But maintain a balance. Roughly, I would say that 150 words minimum, the conclusion and introduction should be. And if you are starting with an anecdote, then 50 words of anecdote, not more than that in the introduction. Got it? The rest, it means the body, which is nothing but the interpretation plus the elaboration. It should be 2/3 of the total length of the essay. And if you ask within this also, I'll say interpretation 20% and 80% is elaboration. 80% elaboration, 20% is interpretation. Right? So these were some of the common questions that I have encountered. If you people have your questions now, you can put forward. Those who are attending online, they can also go. Yes. Can I use movie quotes? Idea of? Yes, you can use. Yes, you can. In fact, one of such movie quote was used by UPSC as one of the essay topic. Do you know? With greater powers come greater responsibility. It is in which movie? Spider-Man. ये topic पूछा गया है UPSC में, आपको पता है? Look at the 2015 or 2014 question paper, and you will find the first topic in part A is this: with great powers come great responsibility. You get it? But do not misquote, and it should be formal and decent. No, never do that. Because your idea is only to push the code and not to publicize the movie. Do not endorse it. Okay. Anything? Yes.
Should we start getting acceptance speech?
Should we start? Go again one more time, dear.
We start getting some acceptance.
Yes, obviously that would be extremely beneficial. That's why you see a widely read person will always have an advantage in the essay paper. What I'll suggest is 1 week from now onwards, if you are appearing for next year and if you are appearing this year, then every day or otherwise 1 week, try to learn one quote, one short excerpt from a speech of a great personality. That would be enough. Okay, go on. Go on. If yes, go on. Okay, go on. Good afternoon. Go on, dear. हाँ हम्म 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 ओके इसके लिए आपको मुझसे मिलना पड़ेगा ठीक है विल डिस्कस दैट व्हाई यू स्कोर्ड लो एनीहाउ okay if there is a question dear relevant question you can ask now if you want to know that what went wrong that for that it would be very impossible for me to give a one line answer okay yes others also please go ahead yes just hold for a second dear yes okay so you want to know who will be the people who will actually matter well they could be anyone but roughly speaking see the point is I am on camera see mostly it would be scholars let's put it that way right and they could be anyone coming from any profession but they would be scholars mostly people of knowledge मतलब आपका ऐसे कोई नौसिखिए के हाथ में नहीं दिया जाएगा some intelligent person will only check it for now you take that thing okay others also yes go on what is source for abstract essay okay first I told you that read the 5th unit of the ethics paper very nicely because that will help you read some books listen to some speeches read some quotes there are so many like what kind of books have you read so far have you read any book dear no have you read any book written by some scholar okay autobiography of which personality that's a great book that's a great book you can always use ideas from that so these kind of books only you should read right books which give you some ideas have you heard about some novels which are also very popular like have you heard about this I think it is Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad excellent novel Psychology of Money again a good novel so obviously you should बट ऐसा नहीं है कि आज से सब छोड़ छाड़ के नॉवल पढ़ना शुरू कर दिया एक के बाद एक पढ़े ही जा रहे हैं मम्मी बोल रही है तो बोले टीचर ने बताया ऐसा कि नॉवल पढ़ो द पॉइंट इज दैट कीप दिस इन थिंग इन माइंड दैट some good books you should read even if you read the magazines properly Yojana Kurukshetra still you will have a lot of material for your essay for abstract thing obviously you have to slightly bend your thinking towards the philosophical point of views you have to think philosophically and for that ethics paper comes handy I always keep this yes what else
okay. So what is the difference between interpretation and explanation
okay explanation simply means that you have been asked a question or you have been highlighted with an issue and you are explaining that what you have understood from it or what it is interpretation means from how many angles you can see that issue that's the difference okay now let me tell you how we will proceed in this course this is very important for every one of you so देखो first thing is you should read this and when you will read this और थोड़ा थोड़ा करके भी पढ़ो तो काफी है अच्छा है You see here we have 6 classes and 7 tests. 5 of them are sectional, 2 of them are mock test. So first class is over, the class on art of essay writing. And I hope that you have now understood the art of essay writing. Clear? And you need to read this material for that along with whatever you have jotted down, and that will help you in improving the art of essay writing. Then 9th, it means next Saturday, we have our second class where essay writing class on philosophical topics. Now what I'll do is I will give you 2 topics. These would be philosophical topics and these would be from previous year's question papers. Why? Because let's do what UPSC has already given. That's the best material by which we can learn. So 2 philosophical topics, what you have to do is you have to pick one, because I want to make you learn everything like selection of topic, everything. Do you understand that? So pick one of them and then write it. So the total time is, if you see, it is 3 hours. So from 12:30 onwards to 2 p.m. you would be writing one topic and you'll get 1.5 hours. Ideal, right? And then the rest 1.5 hours, I'll come and we will discuss both the topics. Somebody might have written something, somebody might have written something else. Do you understand that? So this is more of kind of a workshop kind of situation rather than a class. Do you understand that? Because I've already told you how to write essays. And if I tell you that this is how you should introduce, this is the paragraph, this is the code that you should keep in mind, let me tell you, you would become very bad essay writers. Do you understand that? So it should come from within. So 9th we will do that. Got it? And then when it comes 16th, then your tests start, because now we have already seen the philosophical topics. So the first test in essay on philosophical topics, this time you will get 2 essays. This will be essays which will be new. They will be not from the previous year's question papers. 2 new essays which you have to write in 3 hours. Got it? Then after that we will have, on that day itself, look there in the schedule, we have from 12:30 onwards our 3rd class. Do you understand that? There again I will give you 2 philosophical topics from previous year's question papers and you have to pick one of them and write them, and again I'll come for the rest 1.5 hours, remaining 1.5 hours, and I'll discuss both the topics. Somebody might have written A, somebody might have written B, so I'll discuss both the topics. Why I am putting a lot of emphasis on philosophical topics? Because philosophical topics will dominate, and there's a great chance this year also philosophical topics may dominate. Do you understand that? Then this is how we will go. Then comes the next week. Next week you see again, then you go for the second test on philosophical topics. Similarly, we proceed in our course, and then the 3rd class is on social and economic topics. One topic social, one topic economic, or socio-economic, both of them. Then geopolitical and constitutional. One will be on geopolitical, one will be on constitutional, obviously taken from previous year's question papers. And once you are learning the technique of writing that essay, next week you are appearing for a test on the same subject. Can you take a look at that? And then finally on the last week, we'll have science and technology, one topic, and one topic environment related. The idea is we'll cover all the angles of essay writing, but there's a great chance, let me tell you very clearly, there's a great chance that all the 8 topics could be philosophical again. So that's why a lot of emphasis should be on abstract topics and generic topics. Do you understand that? So you should learn all of that, and ethics will help you in that. And finally, when we'll be done with all of the sectional tests and the classes, you'll appear for 2 mock tests, right? And the dates are given for that. And the mock tests are how? The mock tests are like the real UPSC essay test, where you get 8 essays divided into 2 parts, section A and section B, 4 topics in section A, 4 topics in section B, and you have to write 2 of them. That would be the culmination of the course, the 2 mock tests, right? One thing let me tell you, if you are missing the class workshops on essay writing, then you may find difficult to write your tests, because in class during the workshops you will learn not only because of what I discussed, but also because of what others have written. So your perception will be enriched because of multiplicity of thoughts. Writing it alone in your home and then just appearing for the test will keep you in the cocoon shell. Understand that? It will not ever make you come out of that shell. And also one more thing, that these tests, they can be, some of them can be postponed a little. Like say for example, under extreme situations, suppose you have some medical emergency, or there is some political issue or something like that, and in that case you may not come for the tests. But in no case they will be preponed first, and if you suppose 23rd test, if you give it by 29th, it will be taken, accepted. If you come after 30th, it will not be accepted. The point is then you are losing track of the preparation. The entire idea of having this course gets defeated, right? The whole idea is to prepare essay section in 2 months, and along with, because we are also doing ethics, so along with ethics, the idea is to prepare essay, and both of them combinedly, how many marks? 500, almost the same weightage of your optional paper. Can you see? And if you bring optional also together, how many marks total now? 1000. And those who can do well in 1000 marks optional papers and ethics and essay, definitely, sure shot, they are going to get selected. Every time you see that from 2013 onwards, you just look at the selection rates and the people who have actually made it into the services, they have all invariably, maybe there could be few exceptions, but invariably they have all done better in or good in 3 papers: essay, ethics and optional papers. Okay, so do not lose track of this schedule and try to appear for the next test and prepare yourself for the test of 16. And for that, what is necessary? You need to read this thing, what you have learned today in the class, try to revise that also. Look at the previous year's question papers. Now, the topics that I will pick will be from 2013 onwards, right? Because before that, the essay paper was slightly different. And you see that from 14 onwards, 2014 onwards, UPSC has started asking 2 essays. Before that, there was only 1 essay, 2000 to 2400 or 500 words, something like that. So we will be also practicing with 2 essays because that's more challenging. Because once you have done brainstorming, you have to again do brainstorming. So there are different types, different people adopt different types of brainstorming. What few people do, and it works, both the techniques work. Few people, what they do is, remember 30 to 40 minutes for brainstorming? So they take 20 minutes, first they brainstorm the first essay, 20 minutes, then they brainstorm the second essay, and then they start writing. Some people, they brainstorm and then they start writing, and then again brainstorm. But what I will suggest is, brainstorming at the outset is always beneficial because you're fresh, your mind is fresh. Do you understand that? When you have already written the first essay, you are very tired. So at that time, brainstorming might become a little bit challenging. And you may also be losing time because it's not necessary that you have not exceeded the time limit for the first essay. Maybe in case of 1 hour, you have taken 1 hour 15 minutes. It's possible, right? And now you have only 45 minutes for the other essay. So you think that only for 5 minutes I'll do brainstorming, then I'll start writing. Ideally, make yourself trained for 30-minute brainstorming, 10-minute topic selection. Ideal. 30-minute brainstorming, 10-minute topic selection. Also, you can do this kind of arrangement, 8-minute selection, 32 minutes brainstorming. This is also good. But never go less than 8, never go less than 30. Okay, 30 is bare minimum. Otherwise, you will feel definitely blocked in the essay, right? So on that note, we will close this class and I will meet you again in the next class. Got it? So I hope that you have learned something substantial regarding essay writing, and it is now your prerogative that how you prepare for the essays. Thank you very much.